ಹಿಂದಿನ ಭೂಮ್ತಾಯಿ ಬಳಗ ಹಲವಾರು ಪರಿಸರ ಸಂಬಂಧಿ ಚಳವಳಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿತ್ತು. ಹೋರಾಟದ ಹಾಡುಗಳು, ಆ ಪರಿಸರದ ಹಾಡುಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿ ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಒಂದು ವೃತ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸಿ, ಹವ್ಯಾಸವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸಿ ಕೆಲವರು ಅದನ್ನ ಮುಂದುವರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದರು. ಈಗ ಇದು ಆ ಭೂಮ್ತಾಯಿ ಬಳಗದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರುವಂತ ನೆಲದ ಹಾಡು ತಂಡ. ಅರುಣ್ ಮತ್ತು ಬಾಲು ಬಹಳ ಶಾಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಪಾರ್ಕ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ರೋಡ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ರೋಟರಿ ಅವನಿಯ ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಶುರು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತೇನೆ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಸರ್. ತಮಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಆತ್ಮೀಯವಾದಂತಹ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಹಾಡುಗಳನ್ನ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತಪಡಿಸ್ತಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಲಾವಿದರನ್ನ ವೇದಿಕೆಗೆ ನಾನು ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಹಾಡುಗಳನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಈ ದಿನ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದಂತಹ ಕೀಬೋರ್ಡ್ ವಾದಕರು. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಚಂದನ ವಾಹಿನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿನಿತ್ಯನೂ ಕೂಡ ಗಾನ ಸಿಂಚನ ಎನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ರಿಯಾಲಿಟಿ ಶೋ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಜನಪದದ ಹಾಡುಗಳದ್ದು ತುಂಬಾ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾಗಿದೆ. ಆ ರಿಯಾಲಿಟಿ ಶೋನ ಕೀಬೋರ್ಡ್ ವಾದಕರಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಕಿರಣ್ ಅಣ್ಣವರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರ ಜೋರದ ಚಪ್ಪಾಳನಿಗೆ ವೇದಿಕೆಗೆ ಆತ್ಮೀಯವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬರು ನಮ್ಮ ತಂಡದ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದಂತಹ ಪ್ರತಿಭೆ ರಿದಂಪೆಡ ವಾದಕರು ಮತ್ತು ತಮಟೆ ವಾದಕರು ನಾಗೇಶ್ ಅವರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಆತ್ಮೀಯವಾದಂತಹ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ವೇದಿಕೆಗೆ ನಾನು ಕೋರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ತಂಡದ ಪರಿಸರ ಗೀತೆಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಜನಪದ ಶೈಲಿಯ ಹಾಡುಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಲವಾರು ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಜೊತೆಯಾಗ್ತಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಾಡುಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಶಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ತುಂಬುತ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಜಂಬೆ ವಾದಕರು ಬಾಲು ಜಂಬೆ ಅವರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಆತ್ಮೀಯವಾದಂತಹ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ತಂಡದ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದಂತಹ ಗಾಯಕಿ, ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಜನಪದದ ಹಾಡುಗಳು, ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಹಾಡುಗಳನ್ನ 8 ದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಹಾಡಿ ಬಂದಿರುವಂತಹ ನಮ್ಮ ತಂಡದ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯ ಗಾಯಕಿ ದೇವನಹಳ್ಳಿಯ ಶೈಲಜಾ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರು, ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಗಾಯಕಿ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಆತ್ಮೀಯವಾದಂತಹ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತಾ, ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ವೇಚಿ ಅರುಣ್ ಕುಮಾರ್. ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದ ಅವಕಾಶ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮ ತಂಡವನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಗುರುನಾಗೇಶ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೋಟರಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ಕೋಟಗಣಿ ರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಸರ್ ಅವರ ಹಾಡಿನೊಂದಿಗೆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಅರವಂಟಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ಕಟ್ಟಿದಂತಹ ಜನಪದರು, ದನ ಕರುಗಳಿಗೆ ನೀರನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಜನಪದರು, ಪರಿಸರವನ್ನ ಈಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಶಾಶ್ವತವಾಗಿ ಉಳಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಿರಿಯರನ್ನ ಸ್ಮರಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಶರಣನ್ನ ಹೇಳುವಂತಹ ಗೀತೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಆರಂಭ. ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಬಂಧುಗಳೇ, ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಷನೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರತಿನಿತ್ಯವೂ ಕೂಡ ಹಸಿರನ್ನ ನಾವು ನೆನೆಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳದೆ, ಹಸಿರನ್ನ ನೋಡದೆ ಬದುಕೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅಂತ ಪರಿಸರಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಒಂದು ದಿನವನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಪರಿಸರದ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಅದ್ಭುತವಂತ ಪರಿಸರ ಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ವೇದಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಮರಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಹಸಿರು ಹಾದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಸ್ನೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ಇಟ್ಟು ನಡೆಯೋಣ ಈ ಒಂದು ಗೀತೆಯನ್ನೀಗ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತಪಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಜನಾರ್ದನ್ ಕೆಸರುಗದ್ದವರು ಬರೆದಂತ ಈ ಒಂದು ಹಾಡನ್ನ
ಮತ್ತೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಅರುಣ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ತಂಡ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಇದನ್ನ ಆಮೇಲೆ ತಿರ್ಗಾ ಸೊ ಒಂದು ವಿನಂತಿ ನಮ್ಮ ರೋಟರಿ ಡಿಗ್ನೇಟರೀಸ್, ಐ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಆನ್ ದ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ಲೈನ್. ರವಿಶಂಕರ್ ದಾಕೂಜು ಸರ್, ಅವರ್ ಅಡ್ವೈಸರ್ ಆಫ್ ರೋಟರಿ ಅವನಿ, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು ದ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ಲೈನ್. ನೀವು ಕನ್ವೀನರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ದೇರ್, ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಚಾಯ್ಸ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಂದೆ. So we all agree that nature is our future. That is something which we, ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದಿನ ಪೀಳಿಗೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಸಾಲ ತಗೊಂಡು we are running. It's not an ancestral property. It is something that we got from our next generation, and that's a highest responsibility. So in that regard, Rotary Avani, it is a forum for many things. It will unveil today. Rotary Avani 2026. I request the chairman of Rotary Avani 2026 to render a formal welcome to all of us.
ಹಲೋ. ಈ ಸಭಾಂಗಣದಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಲೆದಿರುವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪರಿಸರ ಪ್ರೇಮಿ ಹೃದಯಗಳಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಗುಡ್ ಈವ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಲೇಡೀಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಜೆಂಟಲ್ಮೆನ್. ರೋಟರಿ ಅವನಿ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಫೆಸ್ಟಿವಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫೋರಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಸೆಮಿನಾರ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. It's a platform for awareness, dialogues and action. ಇಂದು ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರಿರುವುದು ಕೇವಲ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಯ ಅರಿವಿಗಾಗಿ, ಒಂದು ಉತ್ತಮ ಭವಿಷ್ಯಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಪರಿಸರ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆಯ ಸಾಮೂಹಿಕ ಸಂಕಲ್ಪಕ್ಕಾಗಿ. On behalf of Rotary District 3191 and Rotary District 3192, Rotary Avani 2026 team and all participating Rotary clubs, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all for Rotary Avani 2026, organized to commemorate World Environment Day on 5th June. A very warm and respectful welcome to the distinguished Rotary leadership. Rotarian Sridhar, BR, District Governor, RID 3191. Rotarian Elizabeth ma'am is missing, okay. Rotarian Ravishankar Dakoju, District Governor-elect, RID 3192. Rotarian Harini Ravindranath, District Governor nominee, RID 3191. And also our past District Governor, Rotarian Uday Kumar Bhaskara of 3191, the Charter Governor. We also extend a very heartful welcome to our eminent speakers, Dr. Rudradeep Majumdar, Dr. A.V. Krishnan, Professor P.G. Divakar, Rotarian Prakash Belvadi, our convener for Rotary Avani, Moderator, Rotarian Nagesh Siddhanti. We also cordially welcome to all the representatives from Chanakya University, our knowledge partner, and NewsFirst, our media partners, and also our event ally, Greater Bengaluru Parisara Foundation. Along with the respected past district governors, assistant governors, club presidents, Rotary leaders, and Rotarians gathered here this evening. A special welcome to of the media and press fraternity, our talented artists and performers, Nalada Hadu, and Rotary families, students, environmental enthusiasts, and all members here of the public who have joined us today. ಪರಿಸರದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಾಳಜಿ ಇರುವ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ಈ ಸಭಾಂಗಣದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಸ್ವಾಗತ, ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಪರಿಸರ ಉಳಿದರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಪ್ರಪಂಚ ಉಳಿಯುತ್ತದೆ.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇದು 1966 there was a world event in which our MS Subbulakshmi sang Maitri Bhajatam. Today we are going to hear that from Rotarian Soumya Shrikant, while all our dignitaries will water the plant as a mark of beginning of this event, Rotary Avani. I request all of the Rotary leaders in the front line and the speakers of the day today to please join. And the presidents of the host club, please do join us.
मैत्रीं भजत अखिल हृजेत्रीं मैत्रीं भजत अखिल हृजेत्रीं मैत्रीं भजत अखिल हृजेत्रीं आत्मवदेव परानपि पश्यत आत्मवदेव परानपि पश्यत आत्मवदेव परानपि पश्यत युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत त्यजत परेष्वक्रममाक्रमणम् त्यजत परेष्वक्रममाक्रमणम् मैत्रीं भजत अखिल हृजेत्रीं जननी पृथ्वी कामदुगास्ते जननी पृथ्वी कामदुगास्ते जनको देवः सकल दयालुः जनको देवः सकल दयालुः दाम्यत दत्त दयत्वं जनता दाम्यत दत्त दयत्वं जनता दाम्यत दत्त दयत्वं जनता श्रेयो भूयात् सकल जनानां 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 मैत्रीं भजत अखिल हृजेत्रीं. Thank you.
So we divide Rotary Avani 2026 into three parts. Part 1A is already started. Nelada Hadu, ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಧ ಆಗಿದೆ. Now we will begin with the seminar, and then we have Rotary project announcements. In between that, we have panel discussion. And at the end, again, we'll see if we can get time for further couple of more songs. This is the overall program of the day today. Now, I request Rotarian Prakash Belwadi to set the context, and he also is going to present on the first topic today. So, we all know about Rotarian Prakash Belwadi. He's an activist, an artist, ರಂಗಕರ್ಮಿ, ರೊಟೇರಿಯನ್. ಇನ್ನು ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅಡ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. So he just asked me to introduce him as convener of and the founder of Avani. Founder and convener of Avani. Is a trustee in Greater Parisara, GVPF, Greater Bengaluru Parisara Foundation, along with P.V. Rai and Nagesh Siddhanti and Ambika. So, yes. Thank you, Rotarian Prakash. Please.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಾನು 15 ನಿಮಿಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಬಟ್ ನಾನೇ 23 ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಬಟ್ ಐ ಟ್ರೈ ಅಂಡ್ ರನ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಇಟ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ವಿಕ್ಲಿ. ಸಿ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಟೆಲ್ ಯು ದ ಲಾಜಿಕ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್. ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ದಟ್ the world has with climate change and environmental damage. India is a part of the world, and India has its own specific problems. And one of the problems India has is to do with our imports. We have to pay for imports with dollars. But there is a problem for us to pay with dollars. And the rupee keeps depreciating against the dollar. So in the future, we'll have further trouble. There's a problem in the fuel that we get also, because burning fossil fuels, coal and petroleum, crude oil, after it's refined as diesel or petrol, when you burn, we're actually causing further damage to the environment. And there's a problem with that. There are many problems, but some of that we can address. There's a link between burning fossil fuels and our energy production in general and our health. And what we can do about it, can there be alternative means for it, which our invited speakers will actually address. That's the logic of this. Firstly, like many of you will know, I'm not ಪಂಡಿತ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನನಗಿಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ತೀರ ಇಲ್ವೋ, ಆದರೆ ಒಂದು ಲಾಜಿಕ್ಕಿಗಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. See, when Second World War finished, the US was an extremely powerful country. And the Allied, whether by force or by obligation or necessity, 44 Allied countries, nations actually met in New Hampshire in the hotel Washington, Mount Washington. And then, they thought of bringing a paradigm of a foreign exchange system which would be stable, because between the First and Second World Wars, because of the sanctions and impositions that were very cruelly imposed on a defeated Germany, there was hyperinflation in Germany. So the excuse was that a stable foreign exchange system will be done. So that is why this meeting was there. They spoke from 1st July to 22nd. Through all those deliberations, they created a paradigm which included the creation of International Monetary Fund. 3 crucial decisions were made. First is that the dollar's value would be fixed against a gold standard. ನಮಗೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಅಂಬೇಡ್ಕರ್ ಅವರು 1924 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಚ್ಚರಿಕೆ ಅವರ ಲಂಡನ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಮಾಡಿದ ಪೇಪರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದೇ 824 page paper, he had warned about this 50 years before it happened. But anyway, the US dollar would become the primary currency for world trade, and it will be pegged against gold that they held in Fort Knox. And the thing is, they also fixed a value for it, $35 per ounce of gold it would be. And all other nations would peg their currency to the dollar, not to gold, to the dollar. This was the arrangement. Let me figure this out first. I'm so sorry. Okay. This thing lasted for some time, but the US, after gaining global reputation as almost a poetic way, we would say the US Marines would come and save you. From that reputation, they went for the Korean War. They waged war against Vietnam, which they lost very badly. They lost a lot of money by actually doing these wars. And because of those commitments and all that, they lost so much money that when countries, allied countries, were doing their own exports and earning gold, there was nothing that was available as collateral for the dollars they had earned, because the US had burnt it didn't have enough gold, let us say, to actually ಈ ಸಾಲ ತೀರಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರಿಗೆ. So the US did something very dramatic, which the US only is capable of doing. It just removed the gold standard itself. Okay? So this is an extraordinary thing. When Nixon dramatically announced that the dollar will not be pegged against gold anymore. So what is the consequence of that? I'm so sorry. I don't know. Somebody has to do this. I don't know how to do this. Yeah. So I'll go through it quickly if I don't have to do that. That's why. Okay. So what the US did was, when they said it won't be pegged against the dollar, against gold, how would you generate more cash in the US? I'll say this briefly because it's very difficult to understand. When the US does not have money, it will print dollars. Okay? That's all it will do. So, but the thing is, it does not print all its dollars. When it needs to create new money, what it does is it issues treasury bonds. It does not allow the Fed, that is like the Reserve Bank, the central bank of the US cannot buy that. It's offered to commercial banks, and treasury bonds can be bought by investors also. It sells them. The Fed will buy those bonds because those bonds are secure. When the Fed buys those bonds, it has to pay the commercial banks. And how it pays the commercial banks is like this. It's hard to believe, but that's what it does. It goes into, now we will go into the computer, and if Syndicate Bank in Reserve Bank's account holds $100, if they printed more money, they'll just change their account to having $120. That's it, finished. By a digital account entry, they'll say that much money is there. Now that money is not being printed, but the bank now claims it has more money to give loans, and the bank gives loans, does its commercial operations, and this is how the US economy works. Next slide, please. So the US national debt, which was as recently as 2000, see what it was to what it has become now. It is now $39.1 trillion. Because they keep on doing this, and the entire globe is in a helpless state. We can't do anything about it because all the trading continues to be done by this. How does the US manage to keep this hold? First, it prints its currency without any physical collateral. ಈಗ ನಮಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆದ್ರೆ RBI ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲ ಭಾರ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅದು. But US will just print money. It doesn't care. It's a fiat currency, they call it. Its value depends entirely on public trust. You have to trust that this will be redeemed at some point of time. There is global demand for USD because 50% of the world's trade, even today, has to happen only with dollars. In India, it is a lot more. 85% of our imports have to be paid for only in USD. So we need the dollars. And US, whenever there is a threat to this domination, it does a military intervention. And the excuse is usually, saving democracy. That's what they will do. And, they just go and intervene, and that is how they manage this. And and for people who have money, who invest money, who make money only out of money, the US so becomes the safest. As a international policeman you can call them, or international rowdy you can call. Basically the money is safer with them, they feel, and they go to that. Next one, please. So the impact on emerging economies is tremendous, because we have debt servicing crisis, the crowding out capital. See, you can as you watch those things, I'll tell you, right now what is happening, about $50 billion of our reserve currency has been given out by RBI as an intervention. What it does is, when the demand for dollar increases, then the dollar value goes up. To balance it, RBI needs to sell dollars, to buy dollars, to actually ease the pressure, because they have to control the demand-supply equation. But we need dollars also. So we are safe only for about next 10 months for our imports. We have to manage this somehow. It's a very difficult situation. So you can laugh when, a prime minister now or a prime minister in the past has said, please don't buy gold unnecessarily. You will see why also. See, just next one, please. See, because of in India, 80 to 86% of all merchandise imports are paid for in, you can see petroleum, electronics, gold, industrial machinery, coal, organic plastics, like that, we buy. We need to keep the dollars, but we also have to spend the dollars to buy all this. Next one, please. So let's look at gold versus oil import bill. Why you should actually, whatever, regardless of your party affiliation or support, want to do, to unnecessarily buy gold, because you can't do anything with it. Okay? There is a problem. See, look at how much gold we import. More than 50% of the value of what we need, which is energy, we are buying gold. India is the biggest purchaser of gold in the world. 700 to 800 tons. We have only 1 to 2 tons annually that we manufacture our own gold. And crude oil and gold are consistently two of India's very top, purchases. Next. And, we import, arms. We have to do that. And, because of increased domestic production, and also we can do export of arms now, which is a very good thing that the government has done. We have reduced this. But because of the change in dollar value, the exchange rate, next one, please. See, we have improved. But the thing is, even so, I'll show in the next slide, even with that, we are actually paying more for getting less because of the exchange rate problem. And while we can be steady, you can see the graph, the military purchases can be quite steady. But when you get gold, it is not steady. When you get oil, it's not steady. It can have very quick jumps, and it can create great problems for us, like it is doing right now. Next one, please. See, the US exchange rate, it has been climbing steadily. And our fossil fuel imports have been going up. You can see it has dropped a little bit during 2020 because of COVID. But otherwise, it is very bad. And it's increased to $145 billion. But what happens is, next one, please. See, because we have to pay in USD, and oil prices may surge. As the dollar rises, the rupee decreases in value, and we pay more for less. See, we have to import 87% of our crude oil, 48% of our natural gas, and 22% of coal. What I'm saying is that we cannot persuade everybody not to buy gold, maybe. But as a system, as a country, we should look for maybe alternative solutions, at least in one area, which is our energy purchases. Next one, please. See, I'm giving an example. Between 2010 and 2015, crude oil prices in the world crashed by 50%. $100 ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಮೇಲಿದ್ದಿದ್ದು $50 crash ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತು. But every year, dollar rose by about 33%. In this same period, India's crude and coal import bill rose from 85 billion to 101 billion by, although the oil prices had crashed, we were paying more for the oil. Just imagine. That's what happens with the exchange rate. The actual cost rose by 84%. Can you imagine? ಈ ತರದ ವಿಪರ್ಯಾಸಗಳಾಗುತ್ತೆ. And the rupee's fall against dollar has become extremely steep after 1990, you can see, because Narasimha Raw's government came there. We needed to liberalize, globalize and all that. It was necessary to drop that. And from then on, it has dropped more or less at that rate. Next one. Now let's look at this. It's because of that, there are many things India should do to change this. But we'll focus in this seminar on our energy purchases because it has a big link with ecology, as you will see. See how India uses energy. See, transport 22%, industry 50%. You can see all those numbers. And fossil fuel allocation is like that. Heavy industry 40%, transport 17%. These are very, very big uses. We should see whether we can do some control here. Next. See, India's electricity generation mix, is like this. But you can see coal thermal. Coal is extremely polluting. Indian coal is dirtier than coals that we can import. But what happens with import, you know. So if India uses coal, this much pollution happens. And because this much pollution happens with coal burning creates that much pollution. See, there is a direct connection between our energy use and our ecological damage. And the damage is really big. Just see the numbers. And we are not good with statistics in India. We don't actually collect it. These are official figures. The real figures will be much worse than this. Next one. See, India's air pollution mix, sector-wise, power generation because of coal, heavy industries, vehicular traffic, other sources. So one obvious solution is to increase our electricity generation. So if electricity is directly used for energy in India, maybe we can mitigate many of these things. And Mr. Krishnan is there, and a senior and extremely experienced person in this field. He'll throw more light on this. The next one. Next one, please. See, because there's a thing called the State of Global Air report, you can see how bad the damage has been. The deaths in 2023 rose to 2 million because of air pollution. See, over 86% of these fatalities were caused by non-communicable diseases. Because that's an excuse. When people die, you think they've died of other causes, local epidemics and so on. It's not true. They've died due to causes directly related to PM 2.5. Between 2010 and 26, you can see annual premature deaths linked to poor air quality have climbed by approximately 69%, driven by rapid urban vehicle integration and industrial coal usage, with over 95% of deaths occurring in adults over 60, and also in infants and little children. There are rising concerns regarding dementia linked to long-term PM 2.5 exposure. So this is something we should take seriously. Actually, you should wonder that in Delhi, air pollution is not seen as a major election issue. 25 years ago, this should have been the number one issue in Delhi. But somehow Indians, especially educated English-speaking Indians, don't take this seriously. They think it is something you have to live with. The estimate that this report made for Delhi particularly was that life expectancy has reduced by 11.9 years in Delhi because of air pollution. So you will need to take it seriously. It is not that just 11 years of your life has been cut. As you grow older, the quality of your life also declines dramatically during this period. Next is, it's a global problem, okay, but The thing is, our energy use with AI will increase dramatically. I'm just giving one example. See, we have went through that phase of coal dependence. Then we are going through now this air pollution and smog. And tomorrow we may have a greener version of this because we made in the Paris Agreement that we will reduce fossil fuel use we'll bring it below 50%. See, we have actually we will do that, we'll see. But you see, AI data centers actually have a surge by 50%, that much energy use will surge. Now, because of India's huge talent, manpower in this area, a lot of data centers will move to India. We are celebrating that, as we should. There is nothing wrong with it. But we'll need more energy, not less. And what will we do about that is something you need to worry about, keeping our ecological damage in mind. When oil and natural gas supplies are restricted, India is forced to fall back heavily on domestic coal generation. That will be a very big problem for us because our air pollution levels will increase dramatically. There will also be leachate, effluents and all that, but I'm only talking about air pollution here. India's green energy transition targets can't be met, industrial air pollution will go up. This problem is there. Next. See, we have had a very good growth in solar energy. Dramatically we have grown. Next. We are improving steadily with wind energy capacity. I'll expect Mr. Krishnan will throw more light on this. Next. See, our energy, clean energy sector capacity overview is this. We have this much. You can see solar power takes the lion's share in this, 53% of it. And the nuclear power is only 8.78%. You watch that. And you look at bioenergy. And wind power is also not bad. Next one. See, we have this plant capacity mix now that we will increase solar by 2030 to those figures. I won't read the numbers. I'll just go through it quickly. Okay. We have already crossed the 50% milestone, but I'm happy to tell you India is aware. The people who are keeping an eye on this are aware of this. Although we have exceeded the Paris Agreement that we made, that commitment, but still we are aware of the dangers that will come. We need to manage this, Strait of Hormuz and the war in Ukraine. This crisis we need to manage now. And in the future, we need to add, that we need to meet that 500 gigawatt non-fossil target. Wind capacity is expected to triple. And we have done some things, we have increased transmission lines, we have decreased transmission losses, we are doing smart grid, I won't go through the details because there is a presentation and whatever Mr. Krishnan sees fit, he will tell us. Then next one. See, our power generation capacity is like this. Our installed capacity in coal has gone up 3 times. But we can't keep doing this. This is very bad for us. This is easy to do, but hard to digest. You understand? This is the problem. See, solar has gone up. We will do better with solar. We have tasted success and we will do solar. But remember, these are seasonal things. They're time-bound things. In the night, you don't get enough solar power. In some seasons, you don't get enough solar power. So this is not consistent feeding to the grid with a turbine running. You understand? There is a problem with this. And but coal continues to remain the backbone of India's electricity generation because it's reliable baseload power. Next. So overall, we can say what we should do is we should reduce the structural demand for dollars. There are many things to do with this. Reduce our Atmanirbharta, reduce our imports, increase our exports, make the rupee, more stable, have the courage at some point of time if things are good, not like the times we are in now, that the rupee can have full conversion. So investors feel confident to keep rupee, it becomes completely convertible. All that is possible maybe in the future, I don't know. But here in this seminar, we'll concentrate on what we can do with 3 things. One is, of course, reducing our dependency on fossil fuels. The second is increase our renewable and clean fuel, generation. The third is where nowhere it's been mentioned before, I'm mentioning now, we have to look at whether what we can do with our nuclear power. There has been a breakthrough in our what we were trying to do with the nuclear power, and it's not been reported in the media as it should be. It's an extremely important subject of strategic interest. It's actually a thing of survival for India over the next 300 or 400 years. That big it is as an idea. It is strange that, people who don't even need to know how to read and write, only people who can talk and, appear on TV with makeup have become our journalists now. It's a big problem. We need this to be explained. So, I'm sorry, even the print media has not covered this with the interest that it should have taken in this matter. And we are recording this with 4 cameras. We have NewsFirst that has come here to convert this into some kind of a documentary. They'll record the presentations and we'll put it on social media later, and we'll see what we can do with this. So this is what it is. Next one, please. We went through everything, is it? Yeah. No, there is a slide with Narendra Modi and all that. We went. There's been one before. No, forget it. It's okay. What I'm saying, we saw that actually. It has gone down. I thought I'll put that in the end. We have this problem at the moment because the rupee has become very bad at the moment, and we are not that much in control of it. It's not something we can solve so easily. It's needs to be done with infusion of knowledge in technology, with Indian jugaad, with innovation and the cooperation of the public, and institutions like ours, like Rotary, should take, I would say, because we have a global ecology stalwart here in a Rotarian, Ravishankar Dakuju. Everyone knows. For those who don't know, he's promised 450 crore rupee donation to Rotary International. A bulk of that money is going to be spent for ecology as well. So, with a stalwart like that among us, as Rotarians, we should cooperate with people who have knowledge, who have the imagination to do something with it. People have experience with this. So I will close this by saying, which is why we have with us, Dr. Rudradeep Majumdar, who will be introduced soon after after I conclude, who will speak about what is possible with nuclear energy for India in the future. And Shri Krishnan, who has spent more than 4 decades working in the power sector, and he's right now looking at cleaning up coal if possible, before we use it, kind of thing. There's a technology called, where you can, IGCC, where you can actually clean up fuel before it is used, so you can reduce the impact on the environment. And he's going to take us through that, because right now is working on those projects. And then, as a Bangalore specific thing, because we are 3191 and 3192 are districts located mainly in Bangalore city in the urban area. So we have Professor P.G. Divakar, who comes as the knowledge partner for us from Chanakya University. He's now the director of the Center for Sustainability there. And he's invited the speakers for this. He will actually talk about initiatives that are being taken up for Karnataka and Bangalore, I'm thinking in particular. He has been a partner with Rotary Avani ever since its inception. From the very first time we did the Rotary Avani program in 2018, he's been with us. So and then we'll have a short 30-minute panel discussion. Nagesh Siddhanti, will moderate it. We will clear some doubts that you may have. You can ask questions. We'll quickly go through that, and then we'll hand it back to Guru Nagesh to continue the agenda as he has planned it. So, please forgive me if I've exceeded my time. This is what I wanted to present as context, so there is a holistic meaning to what we are doing. Thank you very much.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ಬೆಳವಾಡಿ ಸರ್, ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ವೆರಿ ನೈಸ್. ಇನ್ನು 2-3 ಅಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ. ಒಂದು ಚಿಂತಕರು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಈಸ್ ಅನ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಈ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ಜರ್ನಲಿಸ್ಟ್. ಓಕೆ, I missed these 4 adjectives. So I request our chair of Avani 3192, Rotary Nikhil Nanaya, he's from Rotary Bengaluru Junction, to introduce us the first speaker of the day today, that is Rotary Majumdar.
Thank you, Rotarian Guru Nagesh. Good evening, everyone. I'm here to introduce Dr. Rotary Majumdar, who is an associate professor in the Energy, Environment and Climate Change program at the National Institute of Advanced Studies, Bengaluru. He has a doctorate in nuclear engineering from North Carolina State University in the USA and the MTech in nuclear engineering from IIT Kanpur. Dr. Rudradeep worked as an institute postdoctoral fellow at IIT Bombay and as a postdoctoral research assistant at North Carolina State University. He has published 36 research articles in reputed international journals. Dr. Rudradeep has been selected as a review editor of the energy storage section in the Frontiers in Energy Research Journal. Apart from academics, Dr. Rudradeep takes a great interest in wildlife conservation, nature photography, creative writing, and Indian classical music. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Rudradeep Majumdar.
Thanks a lot for the kind introduction. Respected Sri Prakash Belwari ji sir ji, Nagesh Siddhanti sir, distinguished Rotarian leadership, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and Professor Divakar for inviting me here. So I wanted a easier topic, but Professor Divakar said, no, you have to speak on this. So thankfully, this is my subject, which is very close to my heart. I will try to do justice. If I cannot cover everything, please feel free to ask me questions during panel discussion. If I don't know the answer, I will learn from you. So, next slide, please. So, before I go into the thick of the subject, I would like to mention a few things about JRD's connection with the nuclear program, because I belong to an institute which is conceptualized by JRD Tata as well as Dr. Rajaramanna. So, it happened that JRD actually used to be in Dorabji Jamshedji Tata's darbar, or in his company, and where Mahatma Gandhi and all the stalwarts used to come. So his first idea of nation building must have been germinated there by speaking to these great people. Then Dr. Baba, and then Dr. Baba wrote to JRD after spending time in Rome and Europe doing research on particle physics and other advanced stuffs, that I want to build institutes in India that is at par with the foreign countries. And then JRD advised him to write to Sir Dorabji Tata and the trust, and the TIFR happened in 1944. Next. So after independence, 1948 was a landmark year, because their first Atomic Energy Commission was formed to formulate the governing policies to use the nuclear energy atoms for people's benefit. And subsequently, Department of Atomic Energy came into fruition in 1954. You have to take into 3 accounts when we talk about the nuclear program, that nuclear program started when we did not have any industrial base. Although it is one of the most complex technology driven this sphere, then we did not have any research base going on in the country that actually could take up any material research or design, development, any mission oriented research to have a ramp up in the capacity in a fast manner. Third thing were that most of the research facilities were concentrated in a few universities. Now you have how much? 23 IITs as well as one IISc, several central universities. That time, very finger counted, you may count in single fingers, those kind of universities were there. Only maybe a few physics labs were there. Advanced chemistry labs were very few. Metallurgical labs were few. So our base was very small. Please. So with this, it was very, very ambitious to have a program. It is a visionary program that Dr. Bhabha laid out, in which there are 3 stages, of which you are all aware that pressurized heavy water reactor, which runs on the natural uranium, which only has about 0.7% of fissile isotope of uranium, that is very well developed and it is up and running in India. Among the 25 reactors we have today, 21 reactors belong to this pressurized heavy water reactor. So it is well past. We have passed the first stage. Now, recently what happened in Kalpakkam, that belongs to the second stage of Dr. Bhabha's dream, where he wanted to use a molten salt-based reactor which uses not moderated neutron, but fast neutron to produce from fertile materials such as thorium, which Prakashji mentioned, to bring it to a fissile material which can be used as a fuel like uranium-233. But our technology for thorium is not still in place. So what we are doing, that we are taking the spent fuel from the heavy water reactor, which has irradiated uranium-238 as a test purpose, so that we can make plutonium-239 in the breeder reactor as a fissile material which can be used both for power production as well as for strategic application, which I am not elaborating. And then the third stage will come once we have mastered the second stage with a good breeding ratio. It is not to only produce the fissile material from fertile material, but the ratio has to be very good. In 1958, Dr. Bhabha calculated that we will require about, say, 5 to 6 years to double the amount of fissile material from the stockpile of the fertile material. But with the improved calculation, the number went up to 70 years, which shocked the whole nuclear fraternity. And with little more improvement in various processes and the state-of-the-art technology, now they are telling that we can reduce this fuel doubling time to about 10 to 12 years. Once this is achieved, then this thorium thing will come in place. Now, realistically, what is the expected time when the third stage is expected? Suppose we have done a critical step in Kalpakkam reactor, but it is not still stabilized in form of performance. We have just reached the criticality. I will discuss that what we have achieved. So maybe we are still 3 to 4 years away from actually having a proper power production from that reactor. So count about 30 to 35 years from that to actually have an assessment when we can have thorium-driven reactor in our country. But does it stop to actually make us dream? Answer is no, because this is not the only reactor. This is one of the potent reactor that will actually catalyze a lot of research in molten salt, a lot of research in corrosion-resistant material, a lot of research in diagnostic through the opaque medium of fluid, and finally an advanced nuclear reactor. But we have several other options which will work along this path when we reach till this stage 3 change. So just to give you a glimpse, you don't need to go through the list, but all of you know that Tarapur, which is very famous in terms of our nuclear establishments, facilities, the first 2 reactors was GE Hitachi's boiling water reactor. After that, because we were still very early in our reactor operations, and boiling water reactor, it directly uses the steam from the nuclear core into the steam generator, so there are some operational challenges with that. So later on we shifted with Kandu reactor or the pressurized heavy water reactor. We have also Pokhran 1 and other this embargoes in place which actually led to technology denial. We did not invent the pressurized heavy water reactor out of full pleasure, but because of a necessity, because there was a lot of hindrances in terms of fuel. We did not have good quality enriched uranium fuel, so we had to invent a reactor that can run on natural fuel. All this kind actually led to a large number of single kind of reactor, so that we can handle most of the affairs indigenously. Parallelly, we had two reactors, which are the light water reactors. They are running in Kudankulam complex, where 4 more reactors of that type is being made. That is Russian light water reactor. So these 3 actually are the major types of reactor, and going forward, these are the established technology. So as we look forward to ramping up the capacity by 90 more gigawatt in next 20 years. So something proven, something which has an operational track record, something which has data safety track record. So those kind of reactor technologies are going to be the backbone. Of course, in parallel, the innovation like our PFBR and other advanced high temperature reactor, gas cooled reactor, those will parallelly go on and eventually join the development, because we have not only the Viksit Bharat, and next milestone is 2070, we will have more reactor technologies actually joining the band and increasing the capacity. Change please. So this is another, apart from the 8,800 megawatt which Sri Prakash ji also mentioned, we have another 8,700 megawatt under construction. So by and large, by 2032, you can assume the reactor nuclear capacity will reach about 22.8 gigawatt. 2032 to 2047 is only 15 years. So even after achieving 23 gigawatt, you will have a balance of 77 gigawatt to reach 100 gigawatt. So that is the thing, because all of you know already through reading from open source literature that nuclear projects typically are very capital extensive, and they need a lot of assessment on the site where the project will be laid. And this actually increased the gestation period of nuclear power projects to 10 to 12 years. So until and unless you start working on parallelly on multiple sites with the vision of having multiple reactors in single site, this target is not going to be very easily achieved. There has to be a strategy for it. Change. So this I will just very quickly go through. These are this is one of the most complex loop technology that India has mastered, and India very happily I can share with you, and all of you already know, the 3 variants of PHWR 220 megawatt we first mastered through improving all the safety features from initial learning of Rajasthan and Madras power plant, and thereafter in Tarapur 540 megawatt was actually introduced. Then further operating has happened in Kakrapar, and now RAPS, Rajasthan Atomic Power Station, had the latest 700 megawatt joining. So this is going to be the workhorse reactor that NPCIL, or Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, will continue to pursue in fleet mode. They have 10 reactors being ordered in single set at a time, so that all the critical components can be actually ordered to reduce the project delay as well as the capex expenses. So next. This is the Tarapur 1 and 2, I told, boiling water reactor. As you can see from the core, which is of blue color, the lighter blue actually is the steam, and this deeper blue is the water. So steam is directly going into the turbine generator. So any water that is in close contact with the radioactive material, the water itself is radioactive. So certainly the turbine components are going to be actively activated, because steel will have molybdenum. Molybdenum gets activated by this radioactive neutron that gets passed through this steam. Next. This third one is the most safest and most robust nuclear technology, that is called pressurized water reactor. Our Kudankulam reactor is of this type. Usually the ratings are between 1000 to 1400 megawatt electric across different types of technology produced by America, Korea, Russia, even you have a French design. So there are 2 loops. The reactor core loop is actually separated by a heat exchanger from the steam generator. Steam generator is called a secondary loop. So that is how actually we enhance the safety and decoupling from the core. One thing is that since we have an intermediate stage, we have some efficiency losses, but through the core design and fuel enrichment usage, etc., that has been compensated. And now this is the gold standard of operational performance across the world. If you take any standard reactor in any advanced country, including the two PWRs in our country, their capacity availability factor is more than 90%, their plant load factor is more than 85%. So if you have a very pricey plant, and if you actually that pricey plant is your base load plant, which gives your core electricity base, then it is better to run this kind of plant at a higher PLF so that your recovery of finances are faster. If you don't run it well, the recovery of finance, as he told, that we do not have many big capex to play with, so whatever we have to put it to best use. So this has to be run very efficiently forward. And this is the advanced SMR design. These actually come in the call of the large capacity expansion, but the lack of sites. All of you might be already aware that AERB, Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, they have a strict site guidelines for the greenfield sites. Greenfield sites means you acquire a pristine land and you put up a new project. No other project was earlier installed there. Now for that, from any reactor center within 5 kilometers, you cannot have a capable or active seismic fault. So many of our North India, you know that UP above, it is seismically very active, and also you need to have a particular population density profile around the nuclear power plant. Within 1 kilometer from the reactor center, you have zero population requirement. You should have total sterilized zone, zero population. Between 1 to 5 kilometers, you have a natural growth zone where you can have limited population, and after you acquire the land and start putting new plant, you cannot allow new population to come and settle in the natural growth zone. It is a barrier that one should have between the dense population and the nuclear power plant. So assuming, and you have the water requirement, because this rejects any thermal power plant, like nuclear power plant, if you replace the coal with the nuclear reactor, it is the operating principle is same. They produce the steam and steam produces electricity. So in such plants, 2/3 of the heat generated is actually rejected. Only 1/3 of the heat is produced, it goes to produce the electricity. So this heat rejection requires large water bodies. So that is why progressively coastal nuclear sites are being preferred when we are actually looking for the expansion. If it is inland site, either you have to have a very large dam or you have to have a very strong flowing river like Godavari. Mahanadi, Godavari, even they are becoming weak. Their water profiles are not as good as it used to be 20 years back. So these kind of things will even squeeze the opportunity to have sites. So where from this 100 gigawatt will come up. So there actually an advanced SMR design actually has been propagated, and it is being licensed by advanced countries, USA, Russia, Korea. They are telling that we will make the reactor so passively safe that we don't need any human intervention in cases of any accident or any rupture of your pipes, etc. It will automatically, the water will flow into the core, and in most of the cases the reactor is actually buried under the ground and immersed inside a pool of water, large pool of water, which will actually ensure infinite cooling even after the reactor has been shut down. So with that safety, they are telling that our site boundary actually will be the limit beyond which I don't need any emergency preparedness, or there can be population which will not be harmed. So that is where we are actually requiring this reactor to repurpose the retired coal thermal power plants, go forward, retired coal thermal power plants where the coal based power plants grid, the electricity grid and water intake system can be retained, and every other system related to coal can be replaced, and this advanced reactor can be put, which is under the ground. Now this is your Kalpakkam reactor, where you can see that you have the cold, lighter colored cold sodium in the bottom, and the deeper red colored hot sodium in the upper side. Now it is very, very emotional moment for all of us, but next slide will tell you that why the sodium is not very easy to even master right now and start producing more reactors of this kind. Yes. So you see that sodium has so many challenges. Liquid sodium spontaneously ignites in itself to produce a toxic sodium oxide aerosols. So until and unless you have mastered the high temperature chemistry for sodium very well, you will not be able to control this burning and vaporization. Sodium, all of you may have seen the soda beads, right? And in presence of moisture or even water, you know that how big heat they can produce. If you, some of you must have seen in the chemistry lab, and now you are looking at molten sodium, which will aggressively react with any moisture to produce very corrosive sodium hydroxide, which will corrode the vessel pipes material if they are not of good quality resistant steel. It can also produce hydrogen. If they are not evacuated, there can be explosion. And I told you that sodium is an opaque medium. So far, our diagnostic experience is transparent water or heavy water. So how to actually inspect various components when the reactor is in operation, that is going to be a major challenge. And last but not the least, sodium melts at 97.8 degrees centigrade. When sodium freezes, it expands, it puts pressure on the carrying pipe and tubes. So even if you are not producing any kilowatt hour of electricity, for the safety of the reactor, all the time you have to provide the reactor energy. So without producing the energy, reactor will consume energy to keep sodium in the molten state. So until and unless we master this part, now criticality means we only know how to have a controlled fusion in such a reactor like Kalpakkam. There will be lower energy physics texts now, but this part, until and unless it is resolved, neither you can actually scale it up in multiple numbers, nor you can actually allow private parties to operate this. So what is your future? Shanti Act tells that private companies and JVs can build, own, operate nuclear power, as well as they can fabricate fuel. At least to begin with, they can place their own order for fuel fabrication. However, the critical operations are with the central government control. So, forward please. I am almost at the end. So, the progressive future will be until 2047 two-pronged, while a PHWR and light water reactor, including both pressurized and boiling water, between 700 and 1200 megawatt will be driving your main capacity growth. But the brownfield coal-fired sites will have to be repurposed using advanced SMR of 55 to 300 megawatt electric. Otherwise, only through large reactor and conventional sites, your growth will be limited. That is very clear. And this is the based on our study where Professor Krishnan and I are involved. So we have developed this strategy. If you have any question, we will answer it during the panel discussion. And advanced SMRs, why they are very important, I told you earlier that no conventional nuclear power plant can be installed within a brownfield nuclear power plant because of the various regions that are required. So only generation 3 plus reactors, I will end in a minute. So only these reactors will be favored. So, and this is the few challenges that capacity building is required, new code for SMR is required, and more importantly, the culture of safety, operational skills among the private players, as well as radiological monitoring framework, which is not currently available. These are required. So a huge task lies ahead of us from AERB as well as from the private enterprises. So we will have to wait to see that how the Shanti Act gets into rule formulation, and finally how people takes up the new power plant projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So, energy transition is such an important topic in our ages today. So, many thanks for simplifying us those topics, sir. Thank you so much. I now request again Nikhil to introduce us the next speaker of the day today, Dr. A.V. Krishnan. Please.
Dr. A.V. Krishnan is a Dr. Raja Ramana Chair Professor at National Institute of Advanced Studies, Bengaluru. A mechanical engineer from Bangalore, he was formerly the executive director at BHEL Tiruchinapalli. He has served at BHEL for close to 4 decades. He was in collaboration with IIT Madras to create a Center for Collaborative Research in projects to give more thrust for research and development in the areas of IGCC, which is Integrated Gasification Combined Cycle, and advanced power generation technology that converts solid or liquid carbon-based fuels like coal, petroleum coke, or biomass into clean burning gas before generating electricity, and clean coal technologies. Among many prestigious positions he has held, he was the advisor of eminence in American Society for Quality at India, an honorary position, and was the member of the Project Review and Monitoring Committee for Advanced Alter Super Critical Power Plant Research and Development Project constituted by the Principal Scientific Advisor's Office, Government of India. At NIAS, he joined as Principal Scientist in the Energy and Environment Program for a DST-funded project, an integrated approach to development and environment in the power sector, with focus on clean coal technologies. He leads many projects on earth transition, policy support for privatization of nuclear power plants, identification and evaluation of sites for nuclear power plants, and water conservation in power plants. He has many publications to his credit. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. A.V. Krishnan.
Thank you for the introduction, and very, very good evening to all the dignitaries of the dais. My presentation will be on the renewable energy options. Of course, today nuclear also is being considered, so I'll be touching a small thing, not repeating what Professor Uttardeep has already covered. So I start the presentation with a small data. Of course, some of the data was presented by Prakashji also, but still I'll make a repeat with some further modifications. Next slide, please. You must have heard of the term energy security. So the term energy security as defined by the International Energy Agency in 2021 is uninterrupted availability of energy sources as an affordable price. So first is the availability and unlimited. Whenever we want, we should get. And second is the affordable price. Only then a country has energy security. Getting at a very high price is also not energy security. Not getting it when you want is also not energy security. So this is the definition, the international level. And our great American friends have modified it to protect United States economic and national security and military preparedness by ensuring that an abundant supply of reliable energy is readily accessible in every state and territory of the nation. They didn't talk about the price, but they want everything at any price. Okay. Next. Now look at the world statistics. There are 215 countries in the world producing electricity, out of which 20 countries produce more than 50% of the electricity. The rest of the countries are nowhere near. So you can see the topmost countries are China, United States, India, Russia, Japan, Brazil, and so on. We have put the 20 countries only. The list runs for 215 we have. And you can see the difference that unit is gigawatt hours. You can also, people use terawatt hours. You divide it by 1,000, it becomes terawatt hours. So what we use is units, million units, billion units. So that becomes gigawatt hour and terawatt hour. So we have around 10,000 terawatt hours produced at China. And United States is next, one half of it. And India is next, one half of it. So this is the situation. But the biggest thing why I have put 2024, though we are in 2026, I have the 25 data also, is 2024 gave a turning point, which I have shown there. Strong growth in wind and solar drove the share of renewables in the global electricity mix by 30%. Up to 2023, we did not have a very good share of renewables. But in 2024, the turning point came. 30% of the electricity produced is from solar and wind. Second, 102 countries had renewable energy share of 30% or higher, and 69 countries exceeded 50%. So you can see the impact that is being created. And third, combined with nuclear. Nuclear is also a clean energy, doesn't have emissions. So combined with that, almost 40% of the global electricity is coming from low carbon sources. This was the biggest, that's why I have put the 24 graph. But if you want to know the figures, generation in 2024 was about 30,930, almost 31,000 terawatt hours. And in 25, it is 31,772. Not much of a difference, about 1,000 terawatt hours. Next, please. Now, this is a graph shown for India. I'm showing for the world how the distribution. I'll be leaving this graph so you can look at it at leisure. I don't want to comment anything on here. All we can see is, I told you, 30 to 40% is coming from solar and wind. Next. Now, this is what we call as the energy use per person. How many kilowatts of energy a person uses in each country. If you see India's capita energy, we call the term, the measured in kilowatts per hour per person is called as energy capita. The India's use is 23% of China and 36% of the world average. Because that's our population, that is our energy production. You have seen China is almost 5 times ours, producing electricity 5 times India. They are in 10,000, we are in 2,000. So that is the situation. So you can see India is at a very low this thing. So the accessibility, when you say the energy capita is low, accessibility for energy is low. Everybody may not get energy the time they want it. Next. This is the values. The per capita in USA is 76,800 and India is about 1/10 of that. So that is the problem. One is the population of USA is nothing compared to population of India. But if you look at China, we are almost 1/5 of that. Next. One more. Yeah. Despite all this situation, India's climate actions are very, very robust. We have made a very good plan. The question is how quickly and how well we will implement the whole thing. India is implementing one of the most, you can put one more, no problem. India is implementing the most robust to reach net zero by 2070. That has been declared. So we are working towards it. And our idea was that we will be able to bring down the use of fossil fuel. That means the non-fossil fuel. That means the renewables plus nuclear becomes the non-fossil fuel. And that would become around 50%, more than 50% by 2030, but we have already achieved it now. Unfortunately for India, the finance is a big problem. Though there was all this big tamasha during the climate change workshops that money will be made available, India could not get enough money and for doing the climate change mitigation. So we had to create our own funds and economies to do that. So we relied more on the domestic resources and our national capacity to achieve the climate change objectives. Despite these challenges, what we did is we started using our coal more responsibly. We had old technologies. You know, the last 50 years, we have started from a 60 megawatt old technology to we have come into what is called as a supercritical and ultra supercritical technologies. What has happened is what we were doing it at about 26-27% efficiency today has climbed up and come to around 38% efficiency with the supercritical. So slowly we are retiring the old plants and replacing it with the supercritical plants and ultra supercritical plants, by which we are able to bring down our CO2 emissions. So we are trying to use our coal more responsible, and we are going for the next technology of advanced supercritical technology, IGCC, which is the integrated gasification process, and also carbon capture, which will help us to continue with our coal, but reducing our emissions to a normal level. Next. Now you can see how we are planning to grow. This is the Central Electricity Authority, which talked about the peak demand during the years. So up to this is already known. The green one is all the actual values. 230 and 245. This is the current peak demand. So the 245 You can see the peak demand in 24-25 was 245.4. That is the actual value. 260 was 256.5. And by 2041-42, we'll be reaching 575. This is the projected target based on what? Because we are growing. Industrialization has to grow. So many developments. We are a developing country, not like other countries like US or China who have developed themselves. And their growth may be at the rate of 2%, 3%. They may not need that much, but we need a lot of electricity power. So that means I am going to double my peak demand. So my electricity generation has to go up. Next. And you can now see nuclear is one of the base load as explained by Professor Rudradeep. You need a 24/7 power, which is clean. Today that is what, we have solar, we have wind, but unfortunately they are seasonal. I get a solar for 6 hours or 7 hours in a day. The remaining time, unless I store it, I will not get that power. So one thing is solar and wind are complementary. The time we get solar and the time we get wind is when solar goes down, the evenings, wind starts. So that way it is helpful. But again, the second problem is both solar and wind cannot be done everywhere in India. Solar requires a particular level of radiation from the sun, and that is found only in some states. That is why you will find solar is very popular in Gujarat, Rajasthan. You have in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Telangana. You will never find a solar plant in UP. You will not find it in Bihar because you don't have that sun radiation to that level. Similarly, wind. Wind requires good amount of hills and valleys so that the wind flow keeps coming. So we have tried to build up. So again, wind is available in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Telangana, Gujarat, and somewhere in the coastal areas where you have the wind from the sea. So these are the disadvantages because its scope is limited as compared to any other plant. You can put a thermal plant anywhere. You can put a nuclear plant anywhere. That is one advantage. So you can see that compared to the world level, the nuclear capacity is 1/4, and that is why the target has been fixed that we should also enhance our nuclear capacity, and they have brought this target of 100 gigawatt by 2047. Next. Now, what are the recent developments in the renewable sector? This is one sector which is growing. As I told you, from 24 onwards, we are seeing a big growth. Many countries have advanced technologies. India is also developing its technologies. We are dependent on foreign sources for solar and wind. We don't have our own entire technology with us. So the things that are going on, massive expansion. So we are working on certain things. We already have now 100 gigawatt of approved licensed manufacturers in the country. That capacity, that means I can produce 100 gigawatt worth components in a year. So many factories have come up who are capable of producing them. But still, we are dependent on certain input materials from other countries. Second, your PM Surya Ghar Yojana for the rooftops. This has caught up with the subsidies that have been given. But then it has its own limitations, but still people have tried to do their best in that. Third is the wind power resurgence. We are now at 56 gigawatt. But again, it is limited to Gujarat, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. They are leading the way because that is where you have more of mountains, valleys, and good wind throughout the day. Fourth is the National Green Hydrogen Mission. We are investing heavily on that with 5 million metric tons and to produce by 2030. What are the advantages? We use this for the industries which were using coal. So by that, the emissions can be brought down. I think Prakash has shown that graph. The major contributors are thermal power plants and heavy industries. So you have to focus these two. Transport and other things are there, but then slowly solutions are coming. You are going to EV, you are going to hybrid, all these things are coming. But now with metros and other things, your cars may come down. All these other strategies are there. But the two major guzzlers of this thing and giving emissions are your power plants and industries. So we are trying to bring hydrogen for all the industry required fuel. And then the grid and storage challenges. Good networking has been done today, like the national highways, you have got a national network. You are connecting, you can bring power from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, absolutely no problem. And the renewable corridors are being made, green energy corridors are being made, And storage systems are also being planned. But storage, all of you know, you can maximum store to about 4 hours. You can't. So you need to have parallel storage systems if you want to have 24/7. That is why you need a base load. And that base load can come only from nuclear if it has to be a clean energy. Next, please. Now, this is the status as on 30/11/2025. You can see the solar installed capacity. Then you have the under implementation, that is under installation, and some are tendered now. So we have a clean plan to reach 500 gigawatt of non-fossil. I have added nuclear onto it because it is non-fossil, which is our target. So very much well within this. Next. And this is the total capacity. We have a total of 509 gigawatt today, of which 246 is thermal, coal and lignite. And then you have nuclear, and then you have the renewables, that is solar, wind, and then hydro is also added, large hydro, all these things put together. So in terms of percentage, that 50% has already been achieved with the non-fossil. Next. And we have reached a status, though the numbers may not be big, we are the third largest renewable energy installed in the world, next to China and USA. So we are third in solar, fourth in wind, and fifth in hydroelectricity. So that is one good point to us. So we have to sustain this and take it forward. Next. But then when it comes to emissions base load, we talked about whatever we do on the coal-fired boilers, improving its efficiency, still it is going to emit. It's not that it will become zero. So you need if you want to shut down some of the coal plants and replace it with another base load, nuclear is the only alternate for us, because nuclear has the lowest emissions. You can see here you have all the fossil fuels which are being used, and the y-axis is grams of CO2 that will be generated for 1 unit of power, 1 kilowatt hour of power. You can see how much it is there. And that side you have all the renewables or non-fossil, and you can see even in solar biomass you have some emissions, but nuclear is the least, 15 grams per unit generated. It is the least. So that is one big advantage. You can get both the benefits, 24/7 power as well as lowest emissions. Next. And now the recent developments that needs to bring in the nuclear energy is policy supports, and we are growing with several countries. Whatever climate change initiatives are there, that is being talked, and we are also trying to see that globally what is happening. And what we have found is every country has pledged to move on the nuclear cycle. One thing, big advantage is world over, apart from India, the acceptance for nuclear is very, very high. In India, we still have that difficulty in convincing the public. Today, you put up a nuclear plant, you go for an environment impact assessment, you have to go for a public hearing. You definitely cannot get through in one shot. There are questions in the minds of people, and that keeps moving. Press it 2 times. Once more. And in India, we have now set up this target of 100 gigawatt. Can move one more. One more. Yeah. This is something which is not going down to the public. We have the data collected in India. We are doing the research. We are working with DAE and so on. The public dose of radiation that goes to a person, the limit that is fixed is 1000 microsieverts of radiation. We have actual data measured over the years of the major plants. Acceptance of the level that causes some public problem is 1000, and see where we are of all the nuclear plants which are running. We are in decimals. This is not going to the public, this is not reaching the public, and that is why there is a resistance. It is more of ignorance, it is more of lack of communication, lack of transparency, and if that is not going to the public, everybody will object for nuclear plant. Once this comes to the people, and people are aware of this, then it becomes. Next. So he told about the site assessment. I am not repeating this because this requires a lot of this thing. Can move one more. These are the zones which have to be mentioned for this thing. That is what is very critical here. Next. You can shift. Next. Next. Yeah. Now this is the lithologic map of the country. So you can't put the nuclear power plant everywhere because your surface have to be good, your foundation has to be good. Geologically and seismotechnically, the surface has to be good. So the pink portion is something which is okay. And we can't be very close to the coast because our east coast is always cyclone prone. Our west coast is at a higher level compared to the sea. After Karnataka, once you get into Maharashtra, you are 60, 70 meters away from the coast. The land is 60 meters above the coast. Then it comes down only at Gujarat. So till that you have this thing. So we have those challenges. Next. But in spite of that, we have now identified 39 sites which meets the AERB requirements and given it to different private players who are interested to put up this thing. So this will account to about 60 gigawatt of nuclear capacity, provided the government gives them the land, the people there accept that a nuclear plant can come here, and all other issues, you will have forest area, you will have wildlife, so all these things they will have to manage. If they manage all that and come out, then these sites can generate 60 gigawatt of power. Next. So small and modular, he has already explained. I'll go to the next. 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 The last few slides I'll just cover is the challenges with the low carbon sources. Though we are doing a lot, but what is it? Land requirement for a ground mounted solar plant is 4 to 5 acres per megawatt. And today we are talking about 100 gigawatt. If you want to put, you need 500,000 acres of land. And that too in these states where there is sun. That is how they created these solar parks. We have one near Tumkur and Pavagoda. All these things we have to facilitate that. There is no other way. This is the biggest challenge for us. And unless we get this done, it's not possible. Next. Same thing with wind. Wind, you can see that a single turbine requires 1.5 acres of land. But single turbine means it's a small 1.5 megawatt. That is all you will be able to get. Again, conducive in certain states only. So for 100 gigawatt, we require 38 lakh acres of land. Only in these states. So how much you will be able to get? Next. And for nuclear, we have already seen all these issues are there. Next. So to sum up, I just want to put that clean energy is very much essential, but at the same time, we have to balance between energy security and environmental impact. So that is possible only by a phased manner. So practically, if you see next, it's already explained to Prakashji that 87% of our oil is imported, 50% of our gas is imported, and 26% of the coal. Coal is basically for steel production. We need a better coal. Ours is a dirty coal, 40% ash. Whereas a better coal has 6%, 7% ash. So we need that coal. So that is that. So what is more important is we are in a very unique situation. Country is facing domestic energy demand growth year after year by environmental pressures, but we have to move slowly. Coal will continue for some time. Now, we have talked about 2070. So up to 2050, coal will continue to grow. But at the same time, we have to bring the other things to grow, bring out a balance, and ultimately, last slide, energy and electricity outlook would ultimately depend on the balance between our energy security, environmental response, our climate change commitments, and sustainable development. All these technologies which are coming, we should now hasten up and put it in a faster phase so that it reaches the results and we get benefited from this. Thank you very much, and sorry if I have delayed.
Not a problem, sir. Thank you so much. So we understood that renewables are not an option. It is a necessity for us now. Thanks again for simplifying us. And thanks for giving a lot of hope in this direction. We'll now move on to the speaker 3. I request, how many people know that Dr. Kaval is associated with ecology and related topics. Anyone knows? I know because I introduced her when we installed our club this July. Please come. So she will now introduce Dr. P.G. Divakar, and then we'll move on to his session.
Good evening, Rotarians and friends. A privilege to introduce Professor P.T. Divakar. Professor Divakar is a distinguished scientist and former scientific secretary at the Indian Space Research Organization. Until recently, he was a ISRO chair professor at the National Institute of Advanced Studies, Bengaluru. He currently serves as Director, Center for Sustainability at Chanakya University. Professor Divakar has 36 years of a very successful professional career at ISRO and has developed expertise in the fields of space technology and applications, digital image processing, application software design and development, and geospatial technology and solutions. During his stint at ISRO, he served as Director, Earth Observation and Disaster Management and Scientific Secretary. He is author of more than 100 publications in national and international journals and symposium. Professor Divakar has been presenting papers at Rotary Avani from its inception in 2018. Today, he will talk about some of the programs taken up by the Center for Sustainability at Chanakya. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor P.T. Divakar. Sir, over to you.
You will manage the slides. When he sets up his laptop, we recognize the presence of DGN of Rotary District 3192, Vinod. And we have friends from GBPF, Greater Bengaluru Parisara Foundation. We have Ambika, joined PV Rai and Siddhanti and Prakash. So a warm welcome to those who have joined a little late to Rotary Avani. After this, a short panel discussion, and then we are coming to the core part of the Avani 2026, is that we are going to exhibit what Rotary clubs and District 3191 and 92 are going to do in the area, our 7th area focus, environment. That will be again a very crisp, short presentation. And then there will be a summary and resolution. Our advisor, DGE Ravishankar Dakoju, is going to perform that, followed by a couple of songs at the end. That's the entire program of 2026. Over to Dr. P.G. Divakar.
Thank you very much, and happy to be again associated with this particular program of talking about Bengaluru, and this time it is a little bit more on ecology and perspectives of Bangalore. That's what Prakash wanted me to talk about. A little bit, I feel odd man out because today we are talking about only energy and different type of sources of energy and things like that. But today, this particular presentation will be slightly away from energy, but it will look at various other aspects of how space can be used. Me being a space guy, I cannot get away from space, so I use space for various activities that can be done related to how we can look at environment and ecology. As we all know that we have plenty of satellites up in space, mostly in the polar orbits, which provides excellent data with regard to what can be done on the ground. I will be showing you some very unique satellite images of Bangalore itself, which gives you an idea of what can be done from space. So these polar orbiting satellites do provide excellent data in multispectral domain, as well as in near infrared domain, as well as microwave remote sensing, provides some excellent data that can be used for various types of resources management related activities. Typically, we get the images of this kind, which helps us in understanding not only the features on the ground, but possibly we can start looking at different types of terrains and, for example, Himalayan terrain here. And not only that you visualize these terrains, but you can also get quantitative information about these terrains. That means you can actually estimate the height of a particular area up to centimeters and smaller meters. We are trying to use the satellite data to address various aspects of Bangalore, particularly from the sustainable development point of view. So we have been looking at time series, like I have been able to organize more than 50 years of satellite data, which allows us to understand the gradation of processes that we have gone through over a period of time, and what things have changed over a period of time, and what have we learned from the kind of changes what we have done. Both the growth as well as the ecology need to be addressed parallelly, because we have done excellent growth, no doubt, but at what cost? Suppose we ask that question, there will be a lot of problems related to ecology and environment. Basically, we are looking at land, water, atmosphere, health, and even energy. So urbanization really does happen at a cost. And is it not possible that we can do urbanization, but really not by harming the ecology and environment of a given area? This is the stress with which we are working right now at Chanakya, where we would like to see how urbanization can still take place, but keep the terrain and keep the vegetation, keep the water bodies and various other natural resources intact. So for that, the basis we normally use is the terrain data, and see how we can contain the air and water pollution related activities, and also see how we can look at implementing some of these things in the peri-urban areas. So my presentation will cover some of these areas. So we use space and also the ICT technologies to address the environment and ecology related aspects. So let me look at how we can do a 3D imaging from space. Normally people look at 2D imaging where you get satellite images, but we have excellent satellites which does fore and aft imaging. That means there are two cameras in this particular satellite. It provides a terrain data of this kind. And once you have a terrain data over a period of time, it is possible for you to generate contour data for the entire region. For example, entire Greater Bangalore, we have excellent contour data. So once you have an excellent contour data, it is possible for you to literally use the high resolution contour data to understand the gradients that is available on the ground. So once you have the gradients available on the ground, it is possible for you to make better plans on the ground. For example, this is the satellite data of Bangalore. You see the urbanization on the right hand side. On the left hand side, you can see the Tipgundanhalli and various other areas what we see. It is possible for you to superimpose the entire contour data on the top of it, and you start visualizing the data in a much different fashion. In the sense, you start looking at the third dimension of Bangalore, which normally we don't see. So using this kind of a data, it is possible for you to generate hillshades image, which gives you the terrain data. Like, for example, you can see in this particular right-hand side of the image very clearly shows you the entire Bangalore on the western portion has a lot of undulation as compared to the eastern portion. Eastern portion is a little bit more gradual undulation as compared to what you see on the western portion. And that is very clearly seen when you start extracting the drainage channels of the entire Bangalore and superimpose it onto the satellite data. On the left hand side, you can see literally for the entire Greater Bangalore area, we have been able to generate very high resolution drainage channels data, including the water body information. And how do they drain can be seen on the right hand side. On the western portion of Bangalore literally drains into Kaveri, while the other one goes into Vrishabhavati. And in the beginning, when those songs were being sung, literally they were talking about the black Vrishabhavati and things like that, where a lot of polluted water is literally going through. That means eastern flowing streams of Bangalore is literally carrying a lot of pollution and into the Vrishabhavati area. This is how the terrain derived BBMP image looks like, and it is possible for you to generate a very high resolution drainage data, drainage network data, and also water body data. And I will relate this particular information to something else a bit later. Suppose we look at urban floods. For example, if you see 2022 and 2023 and 24, we have been seeing suddenly burst of heavy rains resulting in urban floods. So we started looking at the reasons behind it. Obviously, everybody knows the reasons, but it is possible for you to reconstruct the problem using satellite data. If you look at 1973 satellite data, where urbanization was pretty small, but at the same time you are able to see the entire drainage network, as you can see from the space data very clearly. You can derive the drainage channels that existed in 1973. So is it possible, because today's urbanization doesn't show you any of these drainage channels because they have all been encroached upon or they have all been urbanized. But it is possible for you to take these drainage channels and superimpose it on today's satellite data. For example, this is today's satellite data, but the yesteryear satellite data looked like this. You can literally see the drainage channels have gone. All your Raja Kaluways, what we talk about, are literally vanished. So what I will do is I will take away these vectors and superimpose them onto the today's data. You are able to reconstruct the drainage channels, and we can give an action plan to the government saying that you can reconstruct your Raja Kaluways by doing clearances and dechoking the areas. This is one simple idea which can be used, which can be proposed using the satellite data, which helps us in doing it. But to prove that this kind of a problem exists, here are some typical examples of what is happening to Bangalore. For example, when it rained in 2022, all these dark areas, what you see, this is an infrared image with SWIR, that is short wave middle infrared image. Very, very rarely do we see Hoskote tank getting full. People wouldn't have seen it at all, but we were able to watch that it got full. And this is the urban image of Bangalore. You are able to see a lot of track of water. That means it proves that the water, when it floods, it really floods through its channels as it existed earlier. To prove that, we also took radar images from space, and we were able to compare the infrared and radar images. And radar images also very clearly proves that drainage channels of yesteryears still exist and can still flow, and flows through all your houses, all your parking areas, and all those people who were going on tractors, they were actually going through these kind of channels, which was not supposed to be. So it proves a point that it is necessary for us to retain the basic drainages that existed. That means urban floods can still be analyzed and brought back to normalcy. Not only that, those areas where the water was not able to find its channel, it has spread across. That means a lot of wet areas were seen almost parallel to the Hoskote tank area, which showed a lot of slushy area which was there for a very long time. That means wet areas were there for a very long time because of the flooding. And we do have our airport situated right there, the new airport near Devanahalli, and literally it is surrounded by big channels. For the kind of rains what we got, we were able to see the huge amount of water flooding in this area. If at all in the coming years, of course this time it's going to be an El Nino year, we may not receive much rains, but there is a possibility you can have big rains. Suppose you get big rains, airport can become an island tomorrow. There is a big possibility of the airport also becoming an island, because you can see the water channels all around it, and this proves from the satellite data that these kind of things has to be very carefully seen and analyzed. That means terrain becomes very, very important for any kind of a planning what you do on the ground. And this is how it is when you go and have a closer look at it. There are multiple channels that goes through the airport actually. And even airport has experienced in 2022 and 23 a lot of water going through it. So we have come out with a few typical plans which has been even presented to the government. The previous chief minister was presented one-to-one on this. Like in the first phase, we need to see to that the eastern flowing river channels need to be released so that, and also cleaned so that the water can smoothly flow through. In the second phase, we need to be addressing the western part of it, which gets into the Kaveri. And in the third phase, we need to actually look at the Hoskote and surroundings. There are watershed related studies that we have already taken up to address the phase 3. So in a nutshell, it is necessary for us to address the urban floods through systematic rechannelizing the Raja Kaluves so that the water body can very smoothly function, especially when it rains. These are the typical points where it rained, and it very clearly proves that all this rainfall got into the network of drainages and created floods. Similarly, we have done very detailed analysis with pre-monsoon and post-monsoon satellite data over Bengaluru to understand last 25 years of urbanization, last 25 years of land use dynamics, and land use dynamics very clearly shows that there has been a rapid urbanization that has taken place. I would say it is some kind of a thoughtless urbanization, haphazard urbanization, which has grown all places, everywhere. And we have also done some analysis of the number of tanks we had earlier and how many tanks are lost, how many tanks not visible. More than 200 water bodies are literally not to be seen. On the air pollution front, we have done some work. Dr. Majumdar and myself, we worked very closely, and we have a very good information about the air pollution. Air pollution regarding, means basically the air pollution modeling that we have done based on space data and also the ground data. So Prakash was pointing out on PM 2.5, we literally looked at the regime of PM 2.5 both in 2016 as well as in 19. We have been looking at recent times also. Throughout the year, if you look at it, the PM 2.5 behavior doesn't remain the same. It keeps on changing. So we have tried to stratify our data with respect to seasons, and in different seasons, Bangalore pollution looks different altogether. This is relatively low, and majority of the pollution to Bangalore is coming from the Nice Road, as you can see here also. But if you get into the other season, November to February, atrocious season where Bangalore goes red, pollutions are very, very high. So we have an excellent simulated model that gives us excellent information about when you have to be careful, when you have to be rerouting, when you have to be moving around in careful areas, safe areas where you don't get affected by PM 2.5 and PM 10. We have taken up an interesting study in peri-urban areas because ultimately in future, Bangalore is going to be growing in other areas other than what it has already spoiled, that is peri-urban area. So one of the peri-urban area we have taken up is Hoskote. We have taken up the watershed of Hoskote and tried to take surrounding watersheds around that area and trying to see how we can use multi-layer modeling approach for better developmental plans so that Bangalore present urban pattern will not exactly repeat the same in the peri-urban area. So we have got all the village boundaries. We have been able to generate very detailed drainage maps. In fact, every water body has been mapped in this area. Any water body which is 1 hectare and above has been mapped already. And we are also studying what is the pollution level in each of these lakes. We have been able to geocode and geotag more than 2,000 lakes from space data. And we have been able to categorize them into different types of categories. That means already our peri-urban areas are getting into problems. Already many encroachments are taking place. Already futuristic land allocations are taking place. So if we have to protect them, we have to protect them with a meaningful data, and we have some excellent data organized, and I'm very soon going to put up this particular data in the public domain on an interactive mode just like Google, so that one can browse onto an area and start looking at those water bodies. This is the kind of data I am talking about. Any particular water body you take, you see how much amount of pollution is there, what kind of suspended sediments are there, how much amount of chlorophyll is there, how much amount of infection can be probed onto this. And what we are also trying to do is we are trying to deploy certain IoT devices so that we'll be able to relate the multispectral data from space with the ground data that comes out in terms of IoT. And we characterize each lake into different categories of what do you call criticality, particularly with respect to humans around that area. So we have large amount of data collected and organized for a decade. And we are able to even see how much amount of time the water gets full in these lakes. And each time the water comes in, how much amount of pollution also accumulates in them. So a very detailed database is done. Of course, I can spend a lot of time on this. Already time is up, so I'll move on. These are the kind of data sets that is coming out from our system. I've just pulled out a screenshot as it is showing the turbidity levels in the water body. You can see some of the areas are completely infested with water hyacinths, which is not at all good. And certain other water bodies where you have untreated sewage directly dumped into the lakes, which is causing very, very severe problems. So we have different colors of lake images here. Each one has a different characteristic, and very clearly it characterizes the way we are managing the lakes in the surroundings. So we are able to get this kind of a data, and we are going to put it down in the public domain so that people can be educated in the neighborhoods, so that they know what kind of a problem they are facing in the surroundings. Of course, this kind of a data might have already been seen. I have organized a 50-year data which shows how Bengaluru urbanization has taken place in a haphazard way, and finally we are reaching a stage where very, very unplanned growth has already happened, and it continues to happen. For example, each one of these patches, what I highlight here, has been growing in an unorganized way. And today's Bangalore looks like this, which is absolutely not acceptable. This is how it is. I'll shift over. What we are trying to do is ward-wise detailed analysis we are doing to understand the various efficacies of the urbanization. We feel digital twin is the only way in which we can bring in a better way of looking at Bangalore. We have already organized three-dimensional models of Bangalore. That means 3D city models. You need to have 3D city models with IoT devices so that you will be able to understand Bangalore in a better way, and possibly see to that Bangalore can be even better planned. Even now it is not too late for us to see to that Bangalore can be brought down to some levels of decency, and all we need is some good scientific data which helps us in doing it. The 3D city model, like what you are seeing here, it enables us to understand Bangalore in a much, much better way, so that it is possible for you to plan your present and the future in a meaningful way. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Professor has been a long time associate with Avani, as Prakash mentioned, 2018. Also, we had our Avani at IASC itself, and it recalls presence of Naresh Venkatramanan. We were there in IASC. Thanks for making it today. Thank you so much. As we prepare for our quick panel discussion, I now we invite our Governor, B.R. Sridhar, for his quick impressions. It was in the beginning of the event. He said he will talk after the thanks for your generosity. Thank you.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. So how is the evening? Once again, generally the Rotary meetings are quite different, but today, this program is totally different for all of us. Lot of learning. My compliments to Rotary District 3191 and 92 Chair Vinuta, Nikhil, right? Nikhil is the chair. Yeah, both of them, and for organizing this beautiful Avani 2026. I have been in Avani since 5 years. Prakash sir, we started in 1819. This is the most sought seminar for all of us. Every year we look forward for Avani. So glad that this year, Avani, we have excellent speakers. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us. So what I observed, we have with us the Karma Yogi Guru, Ravi Shankar Dakoju. Where are you, sir? When we stand next to him, as soon as we see Ravi Shankar Dakoju, we see the entire planet. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Entire planet. He's dedicated his resources for the welfare of our planet. We are so blessed. Rotarians from District 3192 are so blessed to have a person like Ravi Shankar Dakoju, as well as person like to Avani's advisor Prakash Belwadi, sir. You both breathe only environment and the welfare of the planet. So when a speaker speaking about renewable energy, one thing just came to my mind. The government gives so much of freebies. Recent election in Tamil Nadu, they're giving 200 units of power to every household. 200 units. I have a small farmhouse in Osur. They used to get, the caretaker, I gave a 0.5 or 1 kilowatt of solar power to him, so that he can use it every day and day. Last time when I went there, he switched off actually. Sir, ತುಂಬಾ ಮಳೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹೆಂಗಿದ್ರು 200 ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ರೀ. ಎದಕ್ಕೆ ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೋತಾರೆ ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್ ರಿಪೇರಿ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ. So why I'm talking about the government, central government is giving subsidy, the PM Rojgar Yojana, Prakash sir, whereas state government is giving free units. So both are not gelling each other actually. So instead of giving 200 units of free power, so let the government gives 2 kilowatt of solar to every each household. I think that's what I just thought while sitting here. So I think we also need to include policy makers. Probably my request to the incoming governors to see that the next Avani 2027 should also include the policy makers so that we can suggest. I mean, we have an excellent speakers amongst us, and more than that, as I mentioned, we have the planet ambassador Ravi Shankar Dakoju with us. So thank you once again, Avani organizer, for this beautiful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. So Rotary Avani also will work as a precursor for the 7th area focus environment by asking the leadership to come out with the projects that can help environment and ecology. So now I invite Rotarian Nagesh Siddhanti of Rotary Bengaluru Parisara, trustee of Greater Bengaluru Parisara Foundation, an architect, a landscape specialist, to navigate the panel discussion for us. Thank you so much.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. What a fascinating presentation we have been through. 4 master classes, and it really gives me immense pleasure to invite the panelists onto the stage, starting with Shri Prakash Belwadi sir, Dr. Krishnan, Dr. Majumdar, and Dr. Divakar to kindly occupy your seats. We have paucity of time. We can take about 4 to 5 questions from the audience. Now, before that, we would like to, while the presentation was going on, kindly have your seat. Thank you. When the presentation was going on, I was making notes. So I first took out 1 page. Now the notes has gone to about 6 pages. Okay. So, but I realize that we don't have that kind of time at our disposal. While talking to Professor Divakar this morning, you have seen the Bangalore ecology presentation he made. I had an online question already for him, so therefore I will start with that. Professor Divakar, you have shown us the current status of Bangalore's ecology. vis-a-vis how it all started 5 decades ago. Let's say, how it was 5 decades ago. If you have to set up 5 priorities, suppose you are the Bangalore Development Minister today with free hand, what would be those 5 priorities that you would like to take forward? The stage is yours.
Thank you. I think it's a question wherein you will have plenty of things to say, but it will be difficult to prioritize because there are multiple priority items which occupy the same position. But still, since you have told 5, I may have to choose very carefully. The first point would be to do decongestion of Bangalore. You have to decongest Bangalore. I have worked on decongestion of Bangalore and I had given a plan to the government of Karnataka. Also, it was presented to the cabinet. Only thing is, the BBMP commissioner at that time who did this decongestion, he was immediately transferred. That was the result. Okay. So, decongestion of Bangalore becomes very important. So, while doing decongestion of Bangalore, it will be required to identify at least 5 or 6 satellite townships which will be able to attract attention of people for not only residency, but at the same time industrialization, science city and various other activities. The next one would be clean up all the lakes of Bangalore. I think literally all the lakes of Bangalore is completely polluted. We have to streamline the lake cleaning activity. It has to be done. And the smooth flow of water, that means restore all the Raja Kaluves in whatever best way one can, because it's difficult to demolish everything, but still you have to find a way to make the water flow, give respect to the gradient, give respect to the terrain, allow the water to flow very smoothly so that you are able to restore not only the drainage system but also all the lakes. This will become yet another priority. Considering that ecology is important, there will be a need for better vegetation and greening of Bangalore so that you are able to restore not only the environment, also the water cycle. If you have to attract clouds for rains, you need to have very good number of trees all around the place. Already Bangalore has gone up in its temperature, especially in summers by 1 or 2 degrees. So one need to be doing that. Then it is necessary that proper urban planning has to be done at least for the future. There has been master plans, there has been structural plans, all sorts of plans have been done. But when it comes to implementation, it has been thrown out through the window, I would say, because no master plan is followed anywhere. All encroachments have taken place. So I feel strictly adhering to the plans, strictly developing according to the plan will have to be enforced. That becomes very important. Immediately that need to be done in the entire peri-urban area around Bangalore. This will also become very important. I think these are the priorities I feel.
Fantastic. So we made some notes on it. Now, Dr. Majumdar, you made a presentation, a wonderful, wonderful, dense presentation. You spoke of the 3 stages which Dr. Baba had envisioned. We also spoke about Shanti Act. Shanti Act means sustainable harnessing and advancement of nuclear energy for transforming India. So this is an act which got enacted in 2025. Now, under the Shanti Act, do you really envisage, now you can be politically incorrect, do you envisage private investments to come, for instance, from Tata Power? Would they be interested, and why should they be interested to invest in this initiative?
Yes. Very important question, Nageshji. 2 things we have to think that now nuclear power, one part is your electricity for the consumers, correct? And another part is that electricity for their heavy industry that has been mentioned by Professor Krishnan also. All of you know that Europe, where your steel export market is there, from 2026-2027, this financial year they are putting the carbon border adjustment mechanism tax. Okay. So the moment it comes, your average grid electricity is now carbon polluted, right? About 70% to 75% comes from carbon. The moment that tax come into that place, our steel becomes unavailable to enter the EU market. And our core growth sector actually goes down the tank. So we do not have a choice but to adopt a baseload clean energy. So there actually the nuclear is now coming. So, and whether the investment will come, so as I told that now only Shanti Act has come. What has not been made yet, the clear demarcating rules. As I listed in one of the latter slides, that AERB has to formulate, because if a captive power plant is looking for only captive consumption, they may not require a 700 megawatt or 1000 megawatt reactor. They may go for SMR 55 to 300 megawatt, only for their steel plant. For that, we do not have a code, we do not have a repurposing philosophy. So the rule making has to be fast. Once the Shanti Act has come, I think the pace has little bit relaxed. Now we have a new act, so everything will be done. This notion is completely wrong. We have to go full blast for 18 more months until the first site is selected by a private plant and technology vendor is selected and the site is cleared prima facie for ground truth verification, which he showed. For digging borehole to check seismic activity, one should not sleep at all at peace. So private investment come, but they are looking for clarity. They are looking that if they will get the fuel for the lifetime of nuclear power plant. Nuclear power plant actually runs for 60 years of life. If they do not want to hold up their big capital only to have 5 years of fuel, at least 1/3 of the whole life, 20 years of fuel guarantee they are seeking from the central government. Clarity has to come on that front.
Yeah, so we need clarity from the government to enthuse the private investors. So
Yes.
that's how you would like.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. So Dr. Krishnan, wonderful presentation there, sir. So we are Rotarians, we are people of action. You heard we have people who are global ambassadors sitting among us. If you have to give us 5 action areas in terms of clean energy, how an organization like Rotary can involve, what would they be? 5 or even 3 are enough. Yeah.
We should be fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. See, basically, one is to step up the renewable energies, which are today the need of the hour. We should try to sort of select more parks. As I told you, land is the biggest problem because the states are limited where you can generate the solar power and wind power. So the most important thing is the land availability. So we need to create parks. There's no point in taking small land of 100 acres or 20 acres and put up this thing. You need to have, as I told, the figures I showed you is in lakh crores. So we need to identify some good lands. There are definitely areas where agriculture is not being done. There are so much of land available. We need to discuss and try to identify some land where you will get more than about 5,000, 6,000 acres of land and try to put up a solar park. I think that should be one of the things we can take the help of Professor Divakar also to, through the satellite, identify some land which are waste, where there is enough sunlight is there and there is no vegetation and everything. Database exists. Yeah, database exists. So we can look at it. I think that will be one of the focus areas. Second is, I think Professor Rudra has already clarified, what we need is today to drive the 2047 target of 100 gigawatt. You have set up a policy, but that is a very framework at the top. It needs to be deployed down to. I'll just give you a simple example. A private investor who is in the steel industry and he wants to put up a 700 megawatt and they are ready with everything. Their site is selected, has undergone the geotechnical, seismometry, all those things. Now they went to AERB, the AERB, that is a regulatory board, they said, see, if it was for a government, I would have done it. Now you are a private, I don't have the policy still for me to work for you. Then he said, we are prepared to pay for the services. If no, we are waiting for the policy. And finally, they used some people, put some pressure, then they said, okay, I don't have manpower, you do the job, bring it, I will review it. So now they have come back. come back and they have asked people like us and some other agents who are there, and we are trying to do this work what AERB is to do, and then submit it to them for because they don't. So that means the government is still not thought about even. They know that 50, 60 plants have to be put up. They have not strengthened the AERB. So I think this should be the next stage, is deploying the policies down to actionable level. So I think these are the things I think.
Fantastic. Thank you. So at policy level, this reflects what DG Sridhar said. We should have had some policymakers among us. Which brings us to an important question for Prakash sir. This is from my side to you. You gave us the perspective of the US dollars and its characteristics and how to reduce structural demand for the same. Now, sir, Avani 2026, we are in Avani 2026, and 2027 Avani, what should be the agenda for this seminar? If I may ask you that. What do you?
See, I think 2027, this Hormuz thing will get settled some way. In many ways, I think for us to see the US dollar or the American control over the world or diminishing control over the world, we must accept that our future, our fate is very strongly tied with this problem. Let's say I'll give you a simple example. Actually, many of the problems we have will be solved if we were friendly with China. Actually, if we were collecting renminbi instead of dollar, so many things we need to buy from China. We don't need dollar for that. We can buy from renminbi. But from BRICS or India unilaterally cannot make that decision because China does not have oil. Okay. The thing is, our fate is tied with petrodollar, that we are trapped in the petrodollar system. So I will say by next year, I hope we will be discussing in India's geostrategic interests. The reason I'm taking what may look like a dense topic, nuclear power generation, how is it related to us? It may not be related to you, it may be related to the future of your child. Let me put it that way, okay? The thing is, we need to understand this. And what organizations can Rotary do, that is the question you asked, is that we should bring this to focus and we should somehow get this information, to the public. I don't think we need traditional media as strongly as we needed before. At the moment we need them still. But I think by next year itself some change will be there. I strongly recommend that Rotary should have knowledge seminars through the year. And we should have a Rotary channel, Rotary YouTube, some channel. And we should actually, what this is recorded, it will go actually to the public. It will get edited. We'll do this well and we'll send it out to the public. We should do this continuously because we cannot leave. I don't think it is with lack of intention or deliberately the government has not made policy. The government does not know. It is full of bureaucrats who don't care. It's got politicians who don't understand what is being said. So basically, we cannot outsource to government everything that needs to be done. As the world's largest, most gracious NGO, Rotary should, with doubling its effort, involve itself in its seventh area of focus, which is supporting the environment. We should do this seriously, and we should make Avani accountable every year. One of the things I don't know whether Dakuju sir is still here. So one of the things when he reads out the resolution is that, sir, you were there when we had that meeting. We should use Avani around World Environment Day every year to set the agenda for the Rotary clubs of District 3191 and 3192, about 50 or 100 clubs, whatever there is, set the agenda on what each club will do and what as cumulative as a district or both districts put together we will do for the coming Rotary year, which is from July 1st to July 1st. If we can do that every year and institutionalize this thing, we can plan the next Avani in a much more significant tangible, answerable, accountable way than we have done till now.
Thank you. So beautifully said. So Avani is an ongoing project. So it just has a culmination on the Environment Day. But point taken, sir. We need continuous projects. There's an agenda set with all the clubs. Thank you so much. So due to paucity of, I have many more questions, but I think
I just have one question for him. I think it is important to explain both the possibility and financial feasibility of SMRs, because if we can have a demonstration of, say, 4 working SMRs in India, evangelization is very quick. If you can prove it to two or three models, it will immediately work. I think if you can elaborate a little bit on SMRs, it will be very useful.
SMR, as the name says, it is small and modular reactor, as many of you might be knowing. And the principal idea of this is reduce the amount of construction at site, like amount of fabrication at site. So factory gives you prefabricated big components which can be just plugged and played on site. It is easier said than done, because a lot of passive safety features has to be inbuilt into it. More importantly, often in many of the prominent designs that won by NewScale in USA and also Holtec USA or GE Hitachi's boiling water reactor, they are immersed in a water pool, and that reactor core is actually under the ground level. So this kind of reactors will allow the coal-fired power plants without additional area acquisition outside the power plant boundary to be having these nuclear reactors within the coal-fired power plant. So captive power by steel makers or metal companies can be easily transitioning into this. Now he asked about the capex. So we did, sir, a calculation on the Russian reactor, which is now being kind of imbibed by our BRC establishment as SMR 55. So that is an imbibed version of RITM reactor of 200N series. So if it is first of a kind reactor, the cost is hopping high. That is Indian rupees currently 64 crore per megawatt of capacity. But if we indigenize, up to 20-25 units can be produced for different sites, and you get some technology transfer, you fabricate fuel in India, the cost can come down to 2 crore rupees per megawatt, which is comparable with the Kudankulam Raj reactor. So, but number is the key. So, you are telling about 4 will not be that break-even cost. If you want to bring the cost curve, you have to target for 25. So that is the idea, because it is a high-tech project. See, with the compressed volume and the structure, you are complicating the design. A lot of operational space that are available or maintenance space that are available in large reactor will get squeezed here. So a lot of piping, tubing within a small capsule, which has to be planned. So until and unless large order is there, the tooling, machining cost that one puts in will not be. Yes, yes. Yes.
Rudradip, one small point.
Yes.
Recent engagement of NIAS with BARC and
Yes.
also with the government
Yes.
on the SMR and the final recommendations what has come and how government is proceeding based on our work can just be highlighted a little bit. That will be very useful. I think.
Now, basically, what is happening is there is 2 schools of thought regarding, because the first is people are looking at large reactors because we need to grow in size. But there is another opportunity because of these sites. People are thinking, there are a lot of coal plants which have to be retired. Now, why don't we use SMRs there? Because one advantage is all the facilities are, you have water intake system, you have all the rail systems, everything is available. All you have to remove the boiler turbine and replace it with the reactor.
fantastic.
So the government has identified 11 brownfield sites. Yeah, yeah. And
Repurposing.
yeah. So that is one thing. So as Professor Uddharan said, we identify about 25 such sites and order 25 SMRs of the same design. The tooling costs and all the fixed costs will come down. It will get distributed over 25. And at about 20-25 crores per megawatt, we should be able to do it. Plus, we can use some of the facilities already available in those. Water sources available.
The capex can come down,
available.
things like
Grid is available. Connectivity is available. Everything. It now becomes a brownfield.
Great.
There is a problem that high technology or big public use technology, its problems and its value is never communicated to the general public. It does not matter what your educational qualification is, what your intellectual capacity is, it never gets disseminated to the public. So the public does not participate in decision making when it comes to this, and that also becomes a big responsibility for organizations like Rotary.
Absolutely. Great.
One small point, in addition to the
So we'll take some questions. Maybe you will probably be able to.
Sure.
Yeah. So request to Rotarian Guru Nagesh to.
Yeah, hello.
Kindly introduce yourself briefly.
Yeah,
and
my
then
name
ask-
is,
and then you can name the panelist who
Yeah.
you would like to pose the questions to. Yeah.
my name is Naresh Narsiman. I'm an architect. Yeah, my name is Naresh Narsiman. I'm an architect and a planner, and I've been involved with some of these Raja Kalave rejuvenation projects of the city. I have two questions, one to both of you, to Dr. Majumdar and Dr. Krishnan. In all the energy sources you spoke of, you did not address fusion reactors. Cold fusion apparently is on the verge of a breakthrough with the tokamak thing apparently, and there are more than 6 startups in Bangalore itself working on it, and there is one in New York which has apparently achieved almost criticality in able to achieve cold fusion. Would you enlighten the audience about that? And the second question I want to ask Dr. Divakar is that with you keep seeing this meme on social media these days based on the work of Dr. T.V. Ramchandra and the original center in Indian Institute of Science, that out of the 1,360 square kilometer of declared conurbation area of Bangalore, right? The green cover has dropped from 26% in 1976 to less than 3% today. Visually, somehow I feel that there is some fallibility in this data, because out of 1360, if only 40 square kilometer is green cover, Cubbon Park, Lal Bagh and the palace is roughly that much area. So I cannot believe that only 3% of Bangalore is green. And I would like you to, since you also spoke about putting this data out in public, can you please stop that meme from circulating some more? Can you please clarify?
A lot of alarmism happens in the media with that meme. Yeah.
Yes. Sir, you will be very pleased to know my master's thesis at IIT Kanpur was fusion reaction. So, and I know that many of the news or even startups are romanticizing this idea for past 50 years. And I can assure you that for next 50 years also it will be only discussed. Because there are, one thing is that we are talking about steady power, right? Steady power with good power quality, that means there will not be any fluctuations. All the nuclear fusion reactor concepts that are being discussed, the largest steady power pulse width has been of 1200 seconds. It translates to about, say, 12 to 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, that means you need a trigger pulse to be successfully, again, yes, doing fission, and again you are expecting probabilistically that next trigger pulse will sustain your this power source supply for 15 more minutes. So this is now not controlled, and you also know, as you know, fusion reaction, that it is, you have to magnetically or that inertial force confinement is required. After this bombardment happens, especially in deuterium tritium fusion reaction, neutron is produced. The moment it actually crosses this magnetic field confinement disrupts, all the ions actually gets out of the field control and hits the wall of the blanket. So until and unless this control of this advanced technology, that is why I'm telling that Kalpakam, a major breakthrough has happened, right? Diwakar sir told me to spend at least 5 slides on that. Even with the best heart for that technology, I could not spend more than 2 slides because I will not be truthful to the Viksit Bharat target of 2047 if I tell that you can have 100 PFBRs. We are still yet about at least 10 years away to master the technology of PFBR, at least 40 to 50 years away to master and operate stably the reactor technology that you are talking, that ITER you are talking, Eurofusion you are talking, then China is telling I have discovered stellarator. They are very small scale only to prove the physics that I can control the ion and they can hit each other to produce energy, but that does not convert into stable and reliable energy pulse. So that is why, sir, with a heavy heart, it is 50 years away.
Thank you so much. Thank you. In fact, yeah, we had a conversation about it over the phone today morning. Yeah.
I always saw in the same article that there is a big talk of launching solar plants into space to produce all these data centers.
Yeah, that's right. China is having a big plan to make a parallel sun. It is equivalent to the continuous nuclear fusion which we are talking about. And there is a lot of criticism also on the technology, what they are trying to demonstrate on that. But see, China doesn't listen to anybody. If they decide something, they will go ahead and do it. So it looks like they are of course in the experimental stage like what he said, but their plan and vision is to create a parallel sun. And they are going ahead with it. So there are a lot of technologies being developed on the nuclear fusion related aspects. And I'm sure one fine day we are going to see something going on, something going out from there. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, see, I know this whole thing. Of course, in an open audience, I wouldn't like to comment on this, but I can talk to you one-to-one on the work that has been published.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
How much green cover as a percentage of 1360? What percentage?
See, this has been commented upon with actual data that has been culled out by us only. Because over a period of time, we have been seeing this particular data. There is a degradation, no doubt about it, but not to the extent what has been told in that particular paper. It is exaggerated. And I would say it is wrong. It is not. It is wrong interpretation of satellite data. Acha, exact number I will be able to tell you later, but I don't remember. I don't want to quote some number right here. But certainly it is much higher than what is being quoted there.
Okay. So on the lighter note, when China puts out its sun, we can ask them to switch it on in the night so that the battery solar cells can charge. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
We have time for one question. Yeah.
Good evening to all.
Yeah.
Namaskara.
Kindly introduce yourself.
Yes, sir. I am Rotractor Gnanish K. I am a very proud Rotractor from Rotary Club of Yelahanka. I am coming from Yelahanka especially for Avani. Very much inspired by the cause for the program. So my question, I have my questions in 2 segments. So one of my question is, as India's national solar mission, I am a very big fanboy of solar energy. I am engineer by profession, electrical engineer by profession, and I am very huge fan of solar energy. So as India's national solar mission, we are very successfully, significantly scaled up the solar capacity in India. So, sir, my question to you, considering the practical inefficiencies, that is the temperature rise, that is dust accumulation on the solar panels, what is the scheme or what is the technology advancement where you would like to throw the light upon, where we could improve the efficiency which could match the practical and theoretical efficiency? That is the first part. Second part, sir, we also say that solar energy is a mitigation for global warming, one of the mitigation strategy for the global warming. Sir, in my view, solar energy, while setting up, we also, promote global warming while setting up, for the setting up panels and other things, for the land mass acquired for the setting up thing. So my question is, when we are speaking about the mitigation strategies, what is the, impactful life cycle environmental impact for the mitigation strategies of solar?
This question is addressed to which panelist?
Sir, the entire panel, but I would like to go with
Dr. Krishnan?
Yes, Dr. Krishnan, sir.
Yeah. Second question first. See, there is two parts. The mitigation has two parts. See, one is the type of damage you create while installing, and second is the emissions that come out during operation. So basically, I think all discussions have been hovered around the emissions that are coming out of operation, whether it's a coal power plant or a lignite power plant, whatever it is, gas power plant and so on. But if you look at, for example, I think the lowest emission energy is hydro. But the amount of damage you are creating to the environment for putting up a hydro plant, if you take that into account, then the net becomes the same. So there is a balance you have to strike. You may not do that much of a mitigation in case of a solar plant as compared to a hydro plant. So that is, so the long run of it, whether you take a 10-year life or a 12-year life, if you are able to see that the least emissions are getting generated, I think that should be taken as a this. And yes, your solar mission as today already, I think the priority areas have been given. There are 5 or 6 new types of designs are being brought out. And the best design, I think people have gone in for the thinner wafer type, which is about 26-27% efficiency is what they are claiming from the current level of 19 to 21%. So day by day, certain research is going on. In fact, more work is going on in that direction. Unfortunately, we are insulated because we are today not looking at from the development point of view. We are trying to buy most of the things and assemble the panels here. We have not come to the situation of producing the wafers and things like that. You know, it's maybe doing, but a very small quantity. Now with semiconductors and other things going in a big way, I think there is a future is that we need to do a lot of R&D. That's why the last slide I said, the technology development pace in India for these type of items should improve. Then only we will be able to speed up our this thing. Otherwise, we are at a second-hand technology. What China or the European sources were using a technology 10 years back, we are trying to put that in the solar plants today here. So that needs to be answered.
Thank you so much.
Monocrystalline solar panels, apart for now dominant technology is polycrystalline.
Polycrystalline.
So monocrystalline will be the way forward, but crystal size has to be grown. That we are not achieving that much. And Indian meteorology climate is such that our degradation percentage is very high. So we are actually waiting for another problem, that there will be a huge number of panel waste for which we do not have a recycling technology. Because you know perovskite, right, which actually contains lead, and most of this panel waste will be going into landfill. A severe leaching of both antimony coated glass, antimony, and this lead will come to the land in next 7 to 8 years, when this current series of panels will complete their operational life of 10 to 12 years, many of them. I don't want to be that critical, but we started late. Okay, we started importing panel. Our panel ingot making has started much late. I think recycling part, once it improves, then there is an incentive to recover the material and bring back to the cycle. So we do not see, although silicon is available in sand, we cannot endlessly produce without having any environmental recycling and closing the loop. So that is there. Monocrystalline is the way forward.
So ladies and gentlemen,
last question.
Put your hands together to the expert panel. One last question. For that, one quick last question. Kindly identify yourself and then name the panelist. Yeah. We'll take it offline, but one last quick question, Sandeep.
This is for Professor Divakar. I was very impressed with all this satellite imagery. And we are actually in court fighting a case on a lake that has been encroached using fraudulent documents. So we need historical images. So I was wondering if any of those images are available in public domain, or should we obtain it?
They are available in public domain.
So easy to find?
I can show you how to download. You can download it.
Oh,
You
that
can
would be
take it
fantastic.
offline.
Can I
Yeah.
connect with you later?
Yeah, you can do
Also, what I was wondering is, see, a lot of this public imagination suffers like because we don't know what we're losing. So, for instance, what Mr. Naresh brought up is that meme has caught on because it has visualized what we're losing. So, this drastic loss of 70% green cover going down to 3%, 8% concretization becoming 95%, 30% wetlands becoming 5%. That's a brilliant visualization. Now, whether it's factual or not is the argument happening, but that imagination is missing in the public consciousness.
What would be your question,
So,
Sandeep?
what I was wondering is, in your platform, because you have access to so much resources, is it possible to put together, say, a wetland map, say, in the 18th century or the 1960, like that? Yeah.
I think I personally seen 5 presentations he has made. It is available actually on a website we had made. It is easily downloadable. The government is not interested in looking at it.
No, wetland maps available? Complete wetland map.
Yeah.
Because the national the national wetland atlas have looked at. It's very inaccurate data. Most of our
Let's
lakes,
say,
many
I
of
can
our lakes
say-
are
I can
missing.
say on behalf of the office bearers of Greater Bengaluru Parisara Foundation, we can give you the data.
Huh.
We can give you that.
Yeah.
The lake we are fighting for is missing in that.
Then
And
I think we should.
I know that many others are missing. So, which is why we wanted to, well, we can take this
We'll see
offline.
if we
I'd
can
like to
get that
consult.
for you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
So once again, put your hands together to this beautiful thing. It was a great pleasure doing this panel discussion. Thank you for the opportunity. Due to paucity of time, we need to end it here. Thank you.
So the best part of the Avani is going to be, thanks Rotarian Nagesh Siddhanti for easily navigating and, being the great moderator of this panel discussion. I now invite Rotary Bengaluru Naturalists, a less than 6 months old club, Rotarian Vallish, the charter president. If you would like to bring your team, it is fine. Please put up the slide. So couple of clubs presenting for a couple of minutes and then followed by our Ravi Shankar Dakoju's sum up of the entire thing.
Good evening. We from Rotary Bangalore Naturalist. This is a chartered 6 months back. I am the chartered president for this new club. So our aim and objective is only towards nature and wildlife conservation, including lakes. So our plan of this 26 and 27 is to have a mini Lalbagh in Bangalore. And this will be in South Bangalore with the help of 3191 and 3192. And also we would like to set up anti-venom bank where there are so many snake bites in our rural areas. The third project will be plantation drive throughout the year where there is an adequate water. And the fourth project will be on seed banking. Like so many people will be having fruits in their home and they are just throwing the seeds out. You people can give the seeds to us. The next year we will give you the plants. So our seed bank will be set up very close to Turalli. And this will the project for 2 acres of land. All the seeds we can collect from you people and we'll give you the plantation at a nominal cost or the free of cost. And we also would like to introduce terrace gardening. People in the apartment and other small places, if you can give us, we will come and teach you and we will set up the terrace gardening at your place so that the people can benefit about eating the rich nutrition without the food without any chemicals, chemical free food on the trees, whatever the micro green which can be grow at your place. And we also would like to have hunger free drive, like people who are starved when they are in the rural or if they are traveling out. We would have to set up micro ovens in few places so that the poor people can go and take the food without paying anything. These are our project, and also we are coming out with wildlife conference, district conference during October. This wildlife week, we would have to have this conference for 5 days. Each will be on different species, including nature, lake, wildlife, human-animal conflict. It could be a tiger or it will be snakes. These are the project for the upcoming year, 26 and 27. Thank you.
Thank you, naturalist. Those are excellent projects. We wish you guide the right partnerships of the Rotary clubs in the district and neighboring district and the CSR. Thank you and all the best. That you announce. I now invite Rotary Bengaluru Spandana. They have a very transformative concept. I know that because I am from Rotary Bengaluru Spandana. Over to you.
Good evening all, this is Saravana. I am from Rotary Bengaluru Spandana. We have plans for 26-27 green impact projects. I request President-elect Rotarian Lakshmi Sagar Sen to introduce. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So Rotary Bengaluru Spandana has a sustainable roadmap ready for the coming year. So firstly, we want to engage ourselves as a practice club. So we are moving towards the internal stewardship by announcing our Rotary Bengaluru Spandana as a green club for the year 26-27. And we will also make a resolutions with the meeting policies and day-to-day club activities following stringent green measures. So that's the first initiative that we have taken for the upcoming year. Then we would like to move to our public engagement programs as such that we would like to have green confession rooms and also if possible wanted to make a big green expo. So that creates that where it involves as a Rotary-led platform to connect with citizens, institutions and businesses to showcase our practical solutions for the green drive actions. In terms of capacity building, we would like to announce some legal clinic and a vocational training programs that can create some green economy for the youth, and as well as a simple plain language for the legals to for a better guidance for the local and also for the as to measure the green practices. These are something which we wanted to convey with this platform. Thank you for the opportunity provided. Thank you all.
Thank you and wish you all the best. Lakshmi Sagar. May I request all the audience to please be seated. We have 2 more clubs or 2 more announcements from Rotary and our artists are waiting. Whoever stay back, they are going to sing. Okay? But we need to enable them. Please come back. Either come back to the seats, no other choice. Please come back. May I request all the Rotarians to be on the... Please, can somebody help me to remind them that the Avani event is still going on? Friends, please be seated. Those outstanding Rotarians, Srinivas Rao, Shrikant, sorry to call out. I have no other go. Please come back and sit here. Nikhil, are you there? Yeah. junction. Next slide. ಅದಲ್ಲ ಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಒಂದಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಅದೇ ಎಸ್ ಕ್ವಿಕ್ಲಿ.
Good evening, everyone. I am Nikhil, and here is Mr. C.K. Reddy from Rotary Bangalore Junction. Our major project that we are doing in this ongoing year, which will carry on to the next year, is the lake rejuvenation of Pattaredipalya Lake, which is a 2.25 acre lake located here in Bangalore. The current condition of the lake is that it has heavy aquatic weed infestation choking the lake surface, significant siltation reducing the water storage capacity, dumping of solid and construction waste along the banks, blocked natural inflow and outflow channels, and sharp decline of groundwater recharge points. It's a 25 lakh project that we are doing. Once this project is completed, what would happen is the lake will directly recharge about 200 plus bore wells and open wells. There's a direct benefit to household institutions and local users across the catchment area. Environmental impact will be the restoration of native flora and fauna and lake ecosystem, improved microclimate and reduced urban heat stress. The community impact will be the large-term water scarcity for hundreds of households and institutions, cleaner, healthier surroundings, and improved quality of life, community ownership and stewardship of shared ecological assets. This project is jointly being done with our CSR partners, Revati Raghuman Kamath Charitable Foundation. Apart from this, we also have a regular tree plantation drives that we do year on year, and we also take part in quite a bit of eco-sensitive measures in our weekly meetings. We don't use plastic bottles and use only glass bottles. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nikhil. So we have an interesting quick video that has a very huge project in the world, in the area of environment that has happened. This is a legacy of 3190, okay, and it is still going on. Such an amazing project. Now I would request Console to put on that video. Audio ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? A lot of things are self-explanatory by the visuals. ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ವಾ? into 3 parts. Part 1A is already started. Nelada Hadu, one Arda Agide. Now we will begin with the seminar, and then we have Rotary project announcements. In between that, we have panel discussion. And at the end, again, we'll see if we can get time for further couple of more songs. This is the overall program of the day today. Now, I request Rotarian Prakash Belwadi to set the context, and he also is going to present on the first topic today. So, we all know about Rotarian Prakash Belwadi. He's an activist an artist, ರಂಗಕರ್ಮಿ, ರೊಟೇರಿಯನ್, ಇನ್ನು ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಅವರಿಗೆ adjectives ಇದೆ. So he just asked me to introduce him as convener of and the founder of Avani. Founder and convener of Avani. Is a trustee in Greater Parisara, GVPF, Greater Bengaluru Parisara Foundation, along with P.V. Rai and Nagesh Siddhanti and Ambika. So probably a word or two about Challakere project as well. And then, I request our DG Ravi Shankar Dakoju to also to be on the dais while this happens.
Hello. Yeah, the earlier video was Chalkare, and it's a 1,500 acre land from the government veterinary department. If you want to know the size of it, it's 5 times Cubbon Park. But the challenge is it's one of Karnataka's driest places, and we'll be completing 1,000 acres by this year, and in the next 2 more years, another 500 acres. That challenge was given by Mr. Ravi Shankar to me to complete it, and with the Tirumurugan also. So that's where we are on it. On these projects, sir, you were telling the audience about 3191 and 3192 to be together. But like Ravi surprises all of us with his money, it's not just that. He also surprises us with his vision, with his thought. I've tasked with the project of involving all the 44 districts with an environment. So generally most DGs do projects with their own district, but here's a man who again thinks very differently. And once all the 44 districts, it's been presented at multiple places, and all districts are willing to participate. They're participating. And these are the 3 projects. The Dhanyavad project, every district will take up a plantation drive to do 10,000 saplings, a minimum. It's more like a movement. We are keeping the numbers small, but once the movement catches up, I think we will take it up bigger. So one of it is 10,000 saplings by each district. The next is the water bowls. It'll be a million saplings is what the target is. The next is water for voiceless, because most of us have just taken away, like what I think the earlier speakers were talking about, how we have messed up our lakes and water. The animals don't have waters. So we're going to do 1 lakh water bowls across all the 44 districts. And the third project will be, this is the environment, the next one. Will be 500 tribal schools will be set up in all the 44 districts. So each district will pick up at least a minimum of 10 schools, and that's what we're going to do. Those are the 3 projects. The total cost of each project in total will be about 12 lakhs, and DG Ravi Shankar is contributing 40% back to the districts also on that. So thank you, Ravi, for trusting the process and trusting us to do this job. It's a big task, big one, but I think we are ready for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You need to talk. Yes, yeah, I think you all today, honestly, I was under the illusion about Rotary, the perception of Rotary, and you changed it. Thanks for it. I always thought Rotarians are for fun, though their intention is to do good in the world. For fun, if there's a fellowship, the hall will be full. If there's a musical program, hall will be full. But today it's not that way. Today was so good. I never thought I had seen this other than James Bond movies where I used to sit at the edge of the seat. So watching till the last moment, until Nusky lady walks in along with the James Bond. So this today was that. Today was really so good. Thanks, I think, Parisara Foundation for organizing this. And you changed my perception of Rotary. And about this project, or Dhanyavad, what we are talking, is a salutation to Mother Earth. It's a gratitude in action, because of late I have observed that trying to catch the how far to run to outbid the other, we have forgotten the human sentiments of gratitude. We have no gratitude for anything. So this is to bring back that emotion, and starts from showing gratitude to Mother Earth by planting and animals. So we seem to forget them, and the custodians of forest, that is tribals. And next year, I think Avani will be coming with. We'll be sitting for a committee meeting. We are going to formulate more powerful as the need. I think Naresh Narasimhan was suggesting we need a policy making also, along with this scientific presentation. Policy making also should be very much part of it. I think last year, I think in Indians of Science, we were talking about that, right? We'll incorporate. Next year's Avani will be much more robust, will be much more involving, and we'll take it to the national level. And this Dhanyavad also, it involves 4 countries, 5 countries. 4 countries, that is India, Nepal, and Bhutan, Maldives, and Sri Lanka. 5 countries. Yeah. So this is what. And Avani also will be taken to the 5 countries. And next, I think January, we want to start the year with such a significant Sankranti festival, as I think Prakash Sir's vision is to inculcate the habit of cleanliness, hygiene in people. We seem to have forgotten that how villages used to be clean now. It's just a mess now. To bring back that emotion, and we'll be starting the cleanliness drive on every Sankranti. We'll start with the stubbornness. One day it will change. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Our advisor of Avani, thank you so much. We are thrilled and we are looking forward for much more things in Avani 2027. Thank you so much. Thank you, Neil. There is one Wagoner car by number 2089 parked inside the gate, this venue gate, and blocking all other cars. 2089 silver color car. 2809. Can you please take it out? Satish nimda ado? Allah. So illilla sir avaru yaro. Can you check there? Yeah. So Umtai Balagdaru set up ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. We are very eager to listen to you 2 or 3 songs, okay? And thank you very much for waiting so long. Bani set up ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Meanwhile I'll ask Nikhil to perform the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I'm here to propose the vote of thanks. First of all, thank you to the speakers, Rotarian Prakash Belwadi, the convener for Rotary Avani, Dr. Rudradeep Majumdar, Dr. A.V. Krishnan, and Professor B.G. Divakar for their incredible presentations that they've given today, which I believe the time limit that was given to them was quite short. It could be a day-long program with the kind of information that they came with. A huge round of applause to them. Also, thank you to moderator Nagesh Siddhanti for the wonderful panel discussion that was very thought-provoking for all of us. Thank you so much. Thank you to the Rotary leadership, Rotarian Sridhar, BR, DG for District 3191, Rotarian Ravishankar Dakoju, DGE District 3192 and advisor for Rotary Avani, Rotarian Harini Ravindranath, DGN District 3191, Rotarian Vinod Kumar, DGN District 3192, Rotarian Uday Kumar Bhaskara, PDG from District 3191 for gracing the occasion. I also would like to thank the trustees of GBPAF who have been our event ally, PV Rai, Ambika Narayan, Nagesh Siddhanti and Prakash Belwadi. I would also like to thank our knowledge partners, Chanakya University, media partners, NewsFirst for covering the event. A huge round of thanks to the Unite for Good presidents for their support and bringing in all the members from their clubs. Our service partners, Rotary Club of Bangalore, Rotary Club of Bengaluru Baswangudi, Rotary Bangalore North, Rotary Bangalore Spandana, Rotary Bengaluru Bannerghatta Road, Rotary Bangalore Kalyan, Rotary Bangalore Naturalist, Rotary Bangalore Ullal, Rotary Bengaluru Banasiri, Rotary Bangalore Junction, Rotary Bangalore South, Rotary Anikal, and Rotary Bangalore Mahalakshmi Central. Thank you to all the Rotarians, friends of Rotary, environmental enthusiasts, students for attending and the media for covering the event. Thank you to Nellada Hadu Music Group for their lovely performance which they started off the evening with and also to close the evening. Thanks to Aital Caterers for their lovely refreshments and also ensuring that their containers were eco-friendly. Also, thank you to Rotary Club of Bangalore for providing us the venue for this event. Thank you all for being a part of this evening. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Rotarian Prakash. Please.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಾನು 15 ನಿಮಿಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಟ್ ನಾನೇ 23 ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. But I'll try and run through it very quickly. See, firstly, I want to tell you the logic of this presentation. There is a problem that the world has with climate change and environmental damage. India is a part of the world and India has its own specific problems. And one of the problems India has is to do with our imports. We have to pay for imports with dollars. But there is a problem for us to pay with dollars. And the rupee keeps depreciating against the dollar. So in the future we'll have further trouble. There's a problem in the fuel that we get also because burning fossil fuels, coal and petroleum, crude oil, after it's refined as diesel or petrol, when you burn, we're actually causing further damage to the environment. And there's a problem with that. There are many problems, but some of that we can address. There's a link between burning fossil fuels and our energy production in general and our health. And what we can do about it, can there be alternative means for it, which our invited speakers will actually address. That's the logic of this. Firstly, like many of you will know, I'm not ಪಂಡಿತ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನನಗಿಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ತೀರ ಇಲ್ವೋ, ಆದರೆ ಒಂದು ಲಾಜಿಕ್ಕಿಗಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. See, when the Second World War finished, the US was an extremely powerful country. And the Allied, whether by force or by obligation or necessity, 44 Allied nations actually met in New Hampshire in the hotel Washington, Mount Washington. And then, they thought of bringing a paradigm of a foreign exchange system which would be stable, because between the First and Second World Wars, because of the sanctions and impositions that were very cruelly imposed on a defeated Germany, there was hyperinflation in Germany. So the excuse was that a stable foreign exchange system will be done. So that is why this meeting was there. They spoke from 1st July to 22nd. Through all those deliberations, they created a paradigm which included the creation of International Monetary Fund. 3 crucial decisions were made. First is that the dollar's value would be fixed against a gold standard. ನಮಗೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಅಂಬೇಡ್ಕರ್ ಅವರು 1924 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಚ್ಚರಿಕೆ ಅವರ ಲಂಡನ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಮಾಡಿದ ಪೇಪರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು 824 ಪೇಜ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಹಿ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ವಾರ್ನ್ಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ this 50 years before it happened. But anyway, the US dollar would become the primary currency for world trade, and it will be pegged against gold that they held in Fort Knox. And the thing is, they also fixed a value for it, $35 per ounce of gold it would be. And all other nations would peg their currency to the dollar, not to gold, to the dollar. This was the arrangement. Let me figure this out first. I'm so sorry. Okay. If that the US cannot buy that. It's offered to commercial banks, and treasury bonds can be bought by investors also. It sells them. The Fed will buy those bonds because those bonds are secure. When the Fed buys those bonds, it has to pay the commercial banks. And how it pays the commercial banks is like this. It's hard to believe, but that's what it does. It goes into, now it will go into the computer, and if Syndicate Bank in Reserve Bank's account holds $100, if they printed more money, they'll just change their account to having $120. That's it, finished. By a digital account entry, they'll say that much money is there. Now that money is not being printed, but the bank now claims it has more money to give loans, and the bank gives loans, does its commercial operations, and this is how the US economy works. Next slide, please. So the US national debt, which was as recently as 2000, see what it was to what it has become now. It is now $39.1 trillion. Because they keep on doing this, and the entire globe is in a helpless state. We can't do anything about it because all the trading continues to be done by this. How does the US manage to keep this hold? First, it prints its currency without any physical collateral. ಈಗ ನಮಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆದ್ರೆ RBI ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲ ಭಾರ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅದು. But US will just print money. It doesn't care. It's a fiat currency, they call it. Its value depends entirely on public trust. You have to trust that this will be redeemed at some point of time. There is global demand for USD because 50% of the world's trade, even today, has to happen only with dollars. In India, it is a lot more. 85% of our imports have to be paid for only in USD. So we need the dollars. And US, whenever there is a threat to this domination, it does a military intervention. And the excuse is usually, saving democracy. That's what they will do. And, they just go and intervene, and that is how they manage this. And and for people who have money, who invest money, who make money only out of money, the US so becomes the safest. As a international policeman you can call them, or international rowdy you can call. Basically the money is safer with them, they feel, and they go to that. Next one, please. So the impact on emerging economies is tremendous, because we have debt servicing crisis, crowding out capital. You can as you watch those things, I'll tell you right now what is happening. About $50 billion of our reserve currency has been given out by RBI as an intervention. What it does is, when the demand for dollar increases, then the dollar value goes up. To balance it, RBI needs to sell dollars, to buy dollars, to actually ease the pressure, because they have to control the demand-supply equation. But we need dollars also. So we are safe only for about next 10 months. For our imports. We have to manage this somehow. It's a very difficult situation. So you can laugh when, a prime minister now or a prime minister in the past has said, please don't buy gold unnecessarily. You will see why also. See, just next one, please. Because of in India, 80 to 86% of all merchandise imports are paid for you can see petroleum, electronics, gold, industrial machinery, coal, organic plastics, like that, we buy. We need to keep the dollars, but we also have to spend the dollars to buy all this. Next one, please. So let's look at gold versus oil import bill. Why you should actually, whatever, regardless of your party affiliation or support, want to do, to unnecessarily buy gold, because you can't do anything with it. Okay? There is a problem. See, look at how much gold we import. More than 50% of the value of, of what we need, which is energy, we are buying gold. We are India is the biggest purchaser of gold in the world, 700 to 800 tons. We have only 1 to 2 tons annually that we manufacture our own gold. And crude oil and gold are consistently two of India's very top, purchases. Next. And, we import, arms. We have to do that. And, because of increased domestic production, and also we can do export of arms now, which is a very good thing that the government has done. We have reduced this. But because of the change in dollar value, the exchange rate, next one please. See, we have improved. But the thing is, even so, I'll show in the next slide, even with that, we are actually paying more for getting less because of the exchange rate problem. And while we can be steady, you can see the graph, the military purchases can be quite steady. But when you get gold, it is not steady. When you get oil, it's not steady. It can have very quick jumps, and it can create great problems for us like it is doing right now. Next one, please. See, the US exchange rate, it has been climbing steadily. And our fossil fuel imports have been going up. You can see it has dropped a little bit during 2020 because of COVID. But otherwise, it is very bad. And, it's increased to $145 billion. But what happens is, next one, please. See, because we have to pay in USD and oil prices may surge, as the dollar rises, the rupee decreases in value, and we pay more for less. See, we have to import 87% of our crude oil, 48% of our natural gas, and 22% of coal. What I'm saying is that we cannot persuade everybody not to buy gold maybe, but as a system, as a country, we should look for maybe alternative solutions, at least in one area, which is our energy purchases. Next one, please. See, I'm giving an example. Between 2010 and 2015, crude oil prices in the world crashed by 50%. $100 ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಮೇಲಿದ್ದಿದ್ದು $50 crash ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತು. But every year, dollar rose by about 33%. In this same period, India's crude and coal import bill rose from 85 billion to 101 billion although the oil prices had crashed, we were paying more for the oil. Just imagine. That's what happens with the exchange rate. The actual cost rose by 84%. Can you imagine? And the rupee's fall against dollar has become extremely steep after 1990, you can see, because Narasimha Raw's government came there. We needed to liberalize, globalize and all that. It was necessary to drop that. And from then on, it has dropped more or less at that rate. Next one. Now let's look at this. It's because of that, there are many things India should do to change this. But we'll focus in this seminar on our energy purchases because it has a big link with ecology, as you will see. See how India uses energy. See, transport 22%, industry 50%. You can see all those numbers. And fossil fuel allocation is like that. Heavy industry 40%, transport 17%. These are very, very big uses. We should see whether we can do some control here. Next. See, India's electricity generation mix, is like this. But you can see coal thermal. Coal is extremely polluting. Indian coal is dirtier than coals that we can import. But what happens with import, So if India uses coal, this much pollution happens. And because this much pollution happens with coal burning creates that much pollution. See, there is a direct connection between our energy use and our ecological damage. And the damage is really big. Just see the numbers. And we are not good with statistics in India. We don't actually collect it. These are official figures. The real figures will be much worse than this. Next one. See India's air pollution mix, sector-wise, power generation because of coal, heavy industries, vehicular traffic, other sources. So one obvious solution is to increase our electricity generation. So if electricity is directly used for energy in India, maybe we can mitigate many of these things. And Mr. Krishnan is there, and a senior and extremely experienced person in this field. He'll throw more light on this. The next one. Next one, please. See, because there's a thing called the State of Global Air Report, you can see how bad the damage has been. The deaths in 2023 rose to 2 million because of air pollution. See, over 86% of these fatalities were caused by non-communicable diseases, because that's an excuse. When people die, you think they've died of other causes, for local epidemics and so on. It's not true. They've died due to causes directly related to PM 2.5. Between 2010 and 26, you can see annual premature deaths linked to poor air quality have climbed by approximately 69%, driven by rapid urban vehicle integration and industrial coal usage, with over 95% of deaths occurring in adults over 60, and also in infants and little children. There are rising concerns regarding dementia linked to long-term PM 2.5 exposure. So this is something we should take seriously. Actually, you should wonder that in Delhi, air pollution is not seen as a major election issue. 25 years ago, this should have been the #1 issue in Delhi. But somehow Indians, especially educated English-speaking Indians, don't take this seriously. They think it is something you have to live with. The estimate that this report made for Delhi particularly was that life expectancy has reduced by 11.9 years in Delhi because of air pollution. So you will need to take it seriously. It is not that just 11 years of your life has been cut. As you grow older, the quality of your life also declines dramatically during this period. Next is, it's a global problem, okay, but the thing is, our energy use with AI will increase dramatically. I'm just giving one example. See, we went through that phase of coal dependence. Then we are going through now this air pollution and smog. And tomorrow we may have a greener version of this, because we made in the Paris Agreement that we will reduce fossil fuel use we'll bring it below 50%. See, we have actually been